tears. Oh, they started.
Yeah.
Oh, they started right as I pressed the button. Why would I do that? You know, like one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It just creeps up on you.
Oh yeah, that's it. I'm glad that I work on my own because I would be just ugly girl crying.
Yeah. And you know what? I said it earlier, and I said it to and I tend to say this kind of thing a lot of the time, but it is okay to not be okay, and we're gonna have a good time tonight, and we're gonna have some like therapeutic laughs among our friends.
Yes. Oh right, hang on. You made me feel feelings. Hang on, give me a second.
Yeah.
Oh, some iron bread and some. Hang on. This one's for Abby.
Yep.
Okay. So, how are you? How are you? How's everybody out there? It's a sad day. We're going to spend the sad day not being sad.
Yes, we're gonna have a nice time.
We are, except it keeps raining inside my house. And somebody's cutting onions. I'm with myself, but somebody's cutting them. I can't see the screen. The screen has a water effect on it. I don't know why. Is this, they've got the cinematic view?
Must be a new patch, yeah.
Yeah. I must have the settings toggled for like dramatic emo mode. I've got the emo camera settings on. Ugh. Good luck with your uncle. Why? What's he gonna do?
Oh yes, of course. We are because we are rescuing the dear uncle, are we not?
We did rescue him. This should be the start of Act 2.
Ah yes. Yeah, we took the. Have you got the game video shared, by the way?
Oh, no, I
So
don't.
so I may watch along.
That is a good point. I forgot to do that. Hang on.
I could do Twitch, but latency.
Fuck Twitch. That should be it there.
Awesome, got it.
Hey guys, how are you doing in chat? We said
And
sad day today.
hello,
We're not gonna be sad.
and hello there, Ronan.
Yeah,
I see you. You've been
He
subscribed for
was-
36 months.
My God, he was over the other day. We finally got to hang out again, and we worked very hard, and at the end of it, we managed to achieve Resident Evil 6 Platinum.
Oh, you finally finished it. Well done, guys.
Yeah, that means that 7's up next.
Ah, yes, and you've not done that one.
No, not at all. I've not even seen much about it. The only thing I know is there's like a 9-foot big titty goth GF in it.
Oh no, that's Village.
Village
That's
has the
8.
9-foot big titty god GF.
Indeed.
What the fuck, 7?
7 is.
Is that the one with the inbred hillbilly house?
It is the Hillbilly House, yes.
Oh, I didn't want a hillbilly house. I wanted tig old bitties.
Yep, you're gonna get your fingers hacked off to the soothing sound of banjos.
Awesome. I just want the game to open with some guy he's sitting on like the porch on his rocking
There's gonna
chair.
be a creek.
Yeah.
There's gonna be
There's gonna be a creek, and I want the game to open with just some guy. He's on his porch. He's on the rocking chair, and he's just fingering his belly button. Just that's his activity right now. It's consuming all of his attention. There's something in there, and then I just want it to like spit, into one of those spit the tobacco into one of those little tins that goes pa-ding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, see what you're down there, mate. See what you're down there. Oh my God! This game is not for children.
Bebop says 7 is gross hillbilly slime hour.
Oh, cool. So it's like Hillbilly Nickelodeon House.
Slime Hour or Slime House. I'm not sure what that typo is meant to be, but uh, either one is applicable.
What if he's saying that
It does
you're a
last more than an hour.
What if he's saying that you are a gross hillbilly slime hoe?
It was House. Um,
Like, I've been called some weird stuff in my time, but I think if somebody was like, "You're a dirty little hillbilly slime hoe, aren't you?" I'd be like, "What? What? Huh?
what?
Can you walk me through this kink?" I'm not shaving it. I just want to understand.
Aye, please illustrate it for me.
Oh my god, can you draw? Seven can be full on revolting, and it's kind of its best feature. It's like you then, isn't it? Hooray!
Oh.
Anyway, I
Um,
just want to say it out loud and in the clear for everybody that's listening because I'm feeling emotionally stronger after talking about the hillbilly slime hose. Uh, my guys, sad day. We had to say goodbye to wee Abby, wee Diablo. No idea what happened. I just found her the other day and she wasn't moving. And that's the thing with snakes and that, they don't really show you that they're not well. They just get not well and then stop moving.
yeah, we got no way of communicating that to us.
And she was a rescue. I got her from a place. It was actually somebody that I used to work with on Facebook saying that if I didn't take her, she was just getting put in the bin and killed. Which obviously there's no goddamn shot I'm letting that shit happen.
Yeah, that is
So
atrocious.
I have no idea how old she was. Uh, all I can hope for is that while she was with me, she had a better life than what she did have and would have had she not been with me. That's all I can hope. So,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, this one's
and
for
it will.
Abby.
Yep, pour one out, guys.
Yeah, she's uh, she's at my old man's place next to Negan and Zeno.
And King Kong, we didn't hear from you. Didn't hear from us last Thursday. Everything okay? Yep, everything is okay. We will be in all likelihood back this Thursday. To fill that FF7 thirst.
Yeah, that was man, I was not feeling alright that day.
Yeah, it has been a tough week for a couple of us actually. But everyone's okay. We're all okay, and we are we'll be back to it this week.
Well, I feel like for me personally, the doing this is very therapeutic and very cathartic.
Hmm.
This is the first time I've been able to really talk about everything and it be all right. And
Hmm.
it's because I'm with friends. Not just you, like the people in the chat as well. It's all right now. Let me just check the name list. Yeah, it's all good friends that I know and care about, and having people like that around during something like this is exactly what you need to get through it quickly, easily, and in the best possible mental state you can. So, if anybody out there is listening and you're struggling with something, something's getting you down, doesn't matter if it's big, small, whatever, as long as it's enough to make you unhappy, it means it's important. Talk to somebody, please, anybody, as many people as you can, preferably. I find it's like, when you're learning an instrument, and if you
Hmm.
play on your own, that's fine. You can get through it. You can figure out how to play. But as soon as you're playing with other people, it's like you've got a experience multiplier on,
Yeah,
and you just
yeah,
get
for sure.
so much. You just get so much better, so much faster. Well, your heart is an instrument,
Yep.
and sometimes you need other people to make it work proper.
So I heard this. I heard this on online recently. I think it was some. It was some. It was some like kind of mental health positivity thing that was going around, and it was if you're struggling with someone, you should probably tell at least one more. Oh dear.
I was
Sora,
trying to,
Sora shat it.
I was trying to come back, Sora. I'm sorry. I was
He's
trying to
like,
print. I
he's
was
like,
trying to do the
fuck
dog
no, I'm
sprint.
piecing the fuck out. I'm going to the gummy ship and I'm getting out of this fucking place.
Oh my god, dude! I was trying to do the dog sprint from Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
Right,
So
sorry,
so
mental
yeah,
health. Sorry,
so
carry on.
it's okay. So what I was saying was you know you should if you're struggling with something, you should tell at least one more person than you're usually comfortable with telling.
That's a weird rule.
So it's like so it was like so it was almost like um you know try and if you can try and step out of that comfort zone just slightly.
That's such a goth-proof rule. Because it's like one more than you would normally talk to. I normally talk to no one. Well, one more than that. Fuck, got him.
Got him.
Shit.
And I mean, like, I think there's a little bit of truth in that. You know, like if you normally talk to no one, yeah, maybe talk to one person, like one person you trust, one person you feel that you can open up to, and then that will do you the world of good. If you, you know, if you you know have one person you maybe talk to and care about, you know, care about and talk to about these things,
I'm
you
gonna.
know,
I'd like to add a small caveat. Please make sure it's
yeah,
somebody that is not going to make things worse by not caring.
for sure, yeah, for sure.
You know, like don't just go out and find the first person and start trauma dumping on them. People do that, and it's weird. Don't go into like fucking any online space and start trauma dumping either. Really,
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Make sure that that all parties are okay with that.
I don't want to be that dude. Remember that one dude that was like, he asked some chatter, you know, like what the fuck was wrong, and they were like, oh yeah, there's one of my family died, and the streamer was just like, don't tell me these things, you're ruining the
Hmm.
vibe of my chat. Don't do that. No, like guys, if something really fucked up goes on, you can talk about it. Just don't like obviously we're all friends here and shit like that. I mean
Yeah,
like don't go. I mean like don't just search up like I don't know the CBeebies channel and go in that chat room and start talking to people you don't normally interact with. That's weird.
yeah, yeah. But like I think I think there's you know another like really toxic thought that people get into with this kind of thing is um, you know I don't want to burden on someone else with this,
Oh god, I
and
know.
that's something you need to like you need to nip that because it's the fact of the matter is like you know like you said earlier on you know if something is you know it's significant enough to make you feel the way that you're feeling, then it's important. And the people who you know care about you and have your best interests at heart are going to think it's important too, because it's enough to make you feel you know sad or upset. And the people who you can trust to talk about this kind of thing with are not going to feel burdened. They're going to feel like you know they're helping you, which is what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I always, I'm really guilty for that. You know, like I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to be a burden. But shit, I don't want to get fucking jobbed out by the Axeman. Yeah, like I'm really bad at that kind of thing too. I always kind of hold it in and don't really involve other people because I don't want to be a burden, like you say.
Hmm.
But the thing is, like, see if you just try and look at it as if it's not you that has the problem. Like, what would you do
Yeah.
in that situation? Like,
Hmm.
if it was like myself, right, and I had some shit going on that was really weighing on my mind, but I felt like talking to somebody about it would burden me, would burden them. Like, I would sit and not talk about it, and then it would get really bad, and things would just get worse and worse and worse, blah blah blah. But if you did that, if I found out you were doing that, I'd be fucking raging. I would be like, "What the fuck, dude? I'm right here.
So
I want you to lean on me, please, for the love of fuck."
I
If you are feeling that way, there is probably somebody you know who feels the way I just described. Like they would be actively annoyed you weren't talking to them about it because people
and
care.
that's it. Like I would be, I would be the same. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Dealing with this all on your own.
Yeah.
Like a problem shared is a problem halved. And
Sometimes.
I got some broad shoulders.
Oh yeah, well, fuck yeah. This whole goddamn platform of people on there. It's called platform 9 3/4 because that's how many feet there is from blade to blade.
Speaking of which, that thing we saw earlier on. So get this, folks. Apparently, a Minecraft block is
Yeah.
is 1 meter tall. And Steve, the Minecraft protagonist, is 2 Minecraft blocks tall.
Do you know how people are always like, oh yeah, it's Lego, it's just Lego.
Yeah.
Do you know what it reminds me of more than Lego? Remember
What?
when I don't know if you guys would have had I don't know if this was my school or if this was just like a general school thing, but see when you were in school and you were a wee guy, right? Did you I'm talking like primary 1 here.
Right.
But like when they were teaching you to count, did you guys ever have the number cubes? It was like wee cubes, and they would just bring them out and be like, "There you go, you've got 1 cube." And then if you put 1 on top of the other one, now you've got 2. And then you just kept putting them on, and they were literally just cubes that were different colours that your teachers would help use to make you count. Was
I
that?
probably did, or something similar. I probably did have something like that. I can't remember it real clearly, but it sounds like a credible thing.
It was basically like Duplo or whatever. But the reason I was thinking that was
Yeah.
because all of the cubes were exactly one whatever. They were all like they were a specific unit of measurement, like a centimeter or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could like they were using that to teach you like counting as well as distances and shit. I don't know why. I don't know why that stuck with me, but yeah, I feel like it's more like that than Lego. Because like, man, I just got a
Yeah.
Lego set the other day, and holy shit, boy, they are complicated.
Well,
Do you know what this bitch can do? Do you know what this Lego set can do? I've got a collapsing Anubis statue that takes down a wall and exposes a mummy.
Nice. So I think like when people say it's like Lego, it's more like you can make anything, you have the entire box at your disposal, that sort of thing.
Hang on, the fuck does this say? King Kong? The fuck is that? You have
You missed
wrote
the cube.
in my chat. No, before that.
Oh yes, Alien is coming to DBD. In case she didn't tell you before.
I swear to God, I've avoided this game for so long. I own this game. I bought DLC for this game, and I have no intention of playing it. But then people come in and they tell me, "Hey, by the way, you remember that the whole reason that you bought MKX was to play as the Xenomorph in it? Well, now it's a game you already own.
Yeah,
You can be a Xenomorph in it."
yeah, you know how that game that came out a little while ago. You know the one. Alien Isolation. You know how it was one of the best gaming experiences that you had for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can do that in multiplayer.
Fine, I'll play the game. If it's got crossplay, I'll play it. I'll even play it with you.
I've never played it before.
No, I've never played it either. I have so many people tell me that it's fun. It's a good game. It's getting all the support still. It really is
Oh,
like
sick!
it's.
He's elaborated. Apparently, Ripley is going to be a playable hero.
God damn it.
Damn.
Right, okay, I'm going to become a Dead by Daylight streamer now. Watch out, folks. Single player DVD stream content incoming. I will have to get a subscription to Gamersups or G Fuel. I'm going to have to get a snapback, and I'm going to have to learn some. Like, I fear
You're gonna
that
have to
if
get your beard manicured.
I'm going to have to get my beard manicured, but I'm also going to have to
Uh,
learn the most up-to-date slurs. Because if I'm going to enter that space, I can't be using the old patter. They'll know. They'll be like, "Fucking boomer, he doesn't know shit."
yeah,
There
yeah.
must be
They'll
some
sniff you
wild.
out.
There must be some wild new slurs out there. No, I don't want
So
anybody to tell me them right now. But like,
I'm gonna file this because that is potentially quite good fun if I was to go and look up a bunch of Gen Z slang and we try and we and maybe you try and guess what it means.
oh my god! All right, let's. This is like an how out of touch are you test.
Yep, this is how old is the old man Dargo?
I, I remember life before the internet, boys.
We're back when he was a young man Dargo.
Back when I was young Mindargo, I remember 5 channels on the TV, and that was it. That was your whack. I remember you planned your entire fucking week around the TV guide. You would sit with that bitch and look at everything that was coming out that like on TV that entire week, maybe even sometimes a couple of weeks, and you would circle that shit. You'd be like, cool, so on this day between 6 and 9, I'm inside because Crystal Maze is on, and it's a
Oh yeah,
marathon. And
fucking love Crystal Maze, man.
Gladiator and Fort Boyard are on after it. My God.
Yeah.
And then Channel 4's showing a movie. What movie is it? Oh my God, it's Kevin and Perry Go Large because they'll show stuff that has boobies in it.
And when where movies where they say a swear.
Right, right. Not like that fucking BBC where you'd have the movie all edited and shit.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
bits missing.
was it not like that was it not like the 9 o'clock movie at Channel 4? That was a
Oh
thing.
yeah. It was a thing, and I used to go to a pub that used to show it just in the pub. But it was on like a big massive projector screen, so you'd be sitting in there, you couldn't hear shit, and Old Boy would be on the TV, and you're like, the fuck is this? No context, no
Ronan's,
sound, no subtitles.
Ronan's saying 5 channels in the TV and games only worked on Channel 3.
Fuck, right? Remember the old AV channel switching?
Yeah.
It makes me
I
sad to think. Sorry, just one last thought. It makes me really sad to think that of all the technology that I've preserved, like all of my games consoles are still functioning and all that, but I never held on to an old CRT TV because you just think that TV technology only improved, and then you find out, nope, the input delay is much better on those for fighting games. Fuck.
and you get deeper blacks.
You do, you do.
Yeah, the black on a CRT is much like more definite than what you can get through LCD.
It's definitely like I don't know if you ever had the ad that popped up on like your mobile shirt or whatever, where
Uh-huh.
it was like I've invented the blackest paint in the world, and it's just a guy
Oh yeah,
painting,
Vanta Black. Yeah,
like ultra super black, like black hole black.
Stuart Semple. That guy's name is. I think it is
Is it?
the blackest black, pinkest pink guy.
I don't know. The as soon as I hear sample, I just think a castle sample at Johnston.
Fair enough, but yeah, what I was actually going to say was some of my first console games were spent on a TV with buttons on it,
Fuck right.
it was one of those you're gonna love this. It was an old CRT, and it was a wooden boxed one, so it had
Ooh.
a wooden outer shell, little buttons on the front, 1 to 9 and 0. It had a brightness and a contrast knob on it, along with a volume one.
That's amazing. Do you want to know what one of my first gaming experiences was?
Hmm.
Hang on, I've still got it. Give me a second. It's in me room. Here it is. Still works. Hang on. Let me just go back through the game because I'm not paying attention to a fucking thing. I don't know what this guy said. Alright, chat. Ready for some nostalgia? Listen to this. I hope you can hear it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. And like, tell me if you can hear the thing go.
amazing.
Can you hear like a buzz, like a brrrr?
Yeah, as
That's
a rattler.
yeah. Okay, I'll send you a picture of what I'm playing. For anybody that wants to Google it and look it up, that was an Astro Blaster machine.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'll
Yeah, I
send you.
know what you mean.
Yeah, that's the one. On the label, if you turn it upside down, there is a label for Konami Industry, and it is not the logo, like the name they were using for Metal Gear. It predates that.
Oh,
So
so it's
this
the
is like
two
their
lines.
no, it's like hang on, I'll take a picture of it. I'll send it to you. It's like the K has a J in it as well, so it's like Kyonami. You know, like
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's an old one.
That's old Konami. That's back before they were making some real dog shit decisions. See now, I feel like we're at a point now where we could probably quite comfortably tier list the biggest downfalls in gaming developers. In fact, we'll bookmark that because it'll be relevant to something that we'll end up talking about later, I'm sure.
So to clarify on the blackest paint thing, because I've had an answer. Some research has been done
Ah.
in the background for that. Apparently, the blackest black is made by a person called Anish Kapoor. And he bought the sole exclusive rights to use Vanta Black as paint. And another person named Stuart Semple made the next best thing. And you have to promise that you aren't Anish Kapoor or buying it for Anish Kapoor. Honestly,
that
it's in the
that
terms. It's in
fucking
the terms
tricky
and
Anush is
conditions.
always Anush. He's always trying to get his hands on my paint.
But it's actually in the terms and conditions on the website
I'm
when you're
just
buying it.
like,
You have to
fucking.
promise that you aren't Anish Kapoor or buying it for Anish Kapoor.
Oh my god, Anush, poor Anush. He's the Roadrunner, or no, he's the Coyote. He's Wile E. Coyote. He's just trying to get his hands on that fucking other black paint. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. And every time he does it, what was the other guy's name? What was the guy that made the second? The Stuart? Was that Stuart?
Stuart Semple, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Anush is hiding in a fucking like tree, and he's got like a piano on a string hanging over the doorway in Stuart's house, and Stuart just keeps coming out through the top window and landing on him. He's like meep meep, and then walking on.
Yeah. Speaking of games on your TVs, um, the um, the that has just emerged that Netflix have got cloud gaming on the go.
But why?
Apparently you can go to your own Netflix in the UK right now, and you will be able to stream games.
I kinda want to try it, but I'm sure it's going to be shit.
There's a good chance of that, I would say. Yeah.
Like the only way one of these little inbuilt. Oh my god, do you remember having like Sky TV and it had a game section and you would play the one that was the fucking you would launch the colored things and it was like bees. It was like honey.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, that's what TV gaming used to be, boys. But not now. It's like if one of these companies wants to make this successful and have it be something, you're going to need to get
Mm,
Vampire Survivors
yeah.
or something as simple as that can take off in the same way that that did.
Mm. I know that they are gonna need some clout behind them. I don't know what I don't know what they're gonna have. I'm just going on to it just now to have a little look. So there are. Oh, it looks like a fucking mobile shop.
This is the thing, like the need for this has been completely removed by technology. Like
Yeah.
why would I want to go onto Netflix to play games when I could go onto Netflix and watch something while I play games on my phone?
Huh. There is a Tomb Raider Reloaded on it,
Alright.
which looks like a very it's a very mobile looking Lara game.
Is this like the Temple of Osiris one or like the Lara Croft Go?
It could be, but it said just because this is called Tomb Raider Reloaded.
Do you remember those Go games when they tried to make that a thing and there were like little, I don't know, like little game pieces almost? It was as if they were trying to make like a digital version of a board game so they could sell you the pieces later.
Yeah,
That was weird. I didn't like that. Oh shit, what's going on here?
I think the biggest things that I can see on this Netflix gaming is there's Oxenfree 1 and 2. That was like kind of like a pop. That was kind of an indie game that did fairly well, if I remember right.
Hmm.
But that is like the literally the biggest thing I can see on it. There's a Lego game. There's a Pocket Dungeon Shovel Knight game, which I mean I love the original Shovel Knight, the one that's on the one that was on console and handheld. But yeah, that just looks like a mobile one.
Yep, give it a miss, boys. It's not going to be the
Yeah,
next. It's not going to be Game Pass anytime soon.
yeah. Wait for more stuff. You're probably going to be playing the same kind of things looking at your phone. That's all I'm going to say about that really.
Like maybe the only other way that something like this could potentially take off is if Netflix manages to leverage their position as like the media distributor to have things like see if they had like Dead Cells on there, right? But you
Mm.
could only get Richter by playing it on Netflix, and they got that because they've got the new Castlevania series coming out with Richter.
Mm.
Like that maybe would convince a couple of Castlevania diehards to give the game a try.
Yeah, but then we're going into the whole, we're leaning hard into exclusivity. Is that something we really need more of in the game industry right now?
No, but it is literally exclusivity is what separates you from everything else. At least you've got to have some kind of unique selling point, right? Otherwise, you're just
Yeah,
going to
for
get
sure.
lost in the fog and nobody's going to give a shit because they've already
Yeah.
got something that they're comfortable with using that does the exact same thing. You know, there's
Yeah, I don't deny that, but it is what I'm saying is it a good thing? Do we want more of that? Like, is a lot of that a good thing? Is what I'm
eh,
saying.
I think the problem it's such a complicated question because there's arguments that I can understand on both sides and arguments on both sides that I think are really rubbish. But the main sticking point is that you want to have just one play. It's like that app that's in China, the one that's just the everything app,
Yeah,
the one that Elon wants to make for the West. Like
yeah,
if you are able to have all of your things in one place, then that would it's convenience, and that's kind of the whole point of like technological advancements. I feel like is just to add extra layers of convenience to things. And I kind of think that once we get to a point where, like right now, we have, if you want to watch a video, you go to YouTube. You know, there isn't really another website that's doing what YouTube's doing anywhere near the same scale.
Yeah, I mean, there are like competitors to YouTube, but none that are in any way meaningful.
Yeah, so YouTube is like the one-stop shop for getting your your videotisms. Then you've
Yeah,
got things like Twitch. That's
yeah,
where you go to watch people live streaming. There are other places. There's Kick and Rumble and all that. But if you're over there, then it's probably because you're not a normal human being. Biggie.
yeah,
And then you've got things like Twitter. Used to be the place to go and have your social discussions and your big debates and your hot takes and all that. Your discourse. And it still is, I suppose, because people are familiar with it. They've got 10 years of being part of it. For us, it was Facebook. Like
yeah,
I'm still on that, even though it's an absolute fucking boomer like hellscape. And it's
yeah.
just because that's what I'm used to. So
Yeah.
I think
See,
as soon
see
as,
if
sorry,
if
let you go.
Netflix were smart, if Netflix were smart, what they would do right now is they would pair up with someone like, oh, I don't know, like what Nvidia are doing right now. Like they
Or
would they
video
would
too.
pay. So Nvidia are doing this thing right now where you can. It was kind of like what Google Stadia was supposed to be, in that you could stream a game to your device without having to have the expensive hardware to run it. So essentially, you are streaming from a location where that machine is, is being where like servers are being used to run the game, but you don't need the console, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're just live casting it. And if they did something like that, and if they made like general PC games available on it, then I think it would make a butt ton of money.
Yeah. Unless it's like, all right, boys, we're doing this, but we're partnering up with Denuvo. It's gonna have an always online DRM.
Oh
We
no!
promise, we promise it's not gonna slow down performance. Promise.
Even though it's proven that it does.
Fingers crossed, keesies. But yeah, it's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. So yeah. I would say probably not worth looking into now. Maybe later. Who knows? The other kind of bit of news I have immediately is that I don't know if we did cover this the last time we were live. I can't remember, but Square Enix are kind of bleeding right now.
Oh, yeah, and unfortunately, it's not from one massive, fatal wound. This is death by 1,000 self-inflicted cuts.
For sure. They announced that their profit margin, essentially their profit share, is down by 79%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of beans.
If you ever have to ask yourself, is this a lot? Ask yourself, would you take that shot in XCOM? I would absolutely take the 78% shot in XCOM.
Yeah.
So, if I would take that shot in XCOM, they are suffering.
Aye. Is that percentage chance worth it?
That's just, oh my god! As soon as you see 78, it's the meme of the dude just opening the window and jumping out,
Yep.
and all of this. Now, what could have been done to avoid this? Could we have not gotten pitfalled by NFTs? Maybe.
Yeah.
Could we have brought out some games that weren't live service dog shit that ended up getting shut down after, sometimes as little as 6 months?
Yep.
Possibly.
Yep.
Could we have trusted... Ah, fuck's sake. Could we have trusted the company to maintain course and produce high quality, engaging RPG-tisms instead of going down the Western development route, branching out, partnering up with people like Marvel, and putting out
Mm,
absolute dog piss like the Avengers. I mean, possibly. Who knows? Who really knows?
yeah.
I think the only
Could
thing
we
we can
could we
really say
have
for sure.
could we have perhaps been a little more long-sighted and put a little bit more effort when we get the chance to work with Platinum Games
Oh my
and
god.
release something other than what Babylon's Fall turned out to be.
Jesus.
Like as I look back on that game should have been brilliant. Platinum and Square together.
Can you look something up? I'm really
Hmm.
curious, right?
Hmm.
Square Enix upcoming releases.
Okay.
What are these guys actually working on right now that could potentially put money back in the coffers? Because 16, I
Hmm.
feel like 16 was it, and now it is all like Square Enix as a company. Just from what I've seen of them, what they're making recently, it feels like they are being carried. Like they are unconscious, they're on the brink of death, and they are being carried by Final Fantasy VII Remake and 14. And that's
Okay. So
it.
I have it. So we have this is the Square Enix release schedule from press.northamerica.squareenix.com. Um, Here we go. So we have let's see if this is by release date.
Let's see.
Gotcha. Okay. So we have Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai.
Okay, Dragon Quest is something that I know of, I have heard of, and I've actually played a couple of the games when I was much younger. But apart from that, I don't really know anybody. Like, I feel like it's one of those things everybody knows, but nobody plays. I know one person that plays Dragon Quest like every time it
Mhm.
comes out, and that's it. I don't know anybody else that's hyped for this series. I feel like it's such a it's popular but not here. So
Yeah,
like
I
my day is probably skewed.
to be honest, I really, really want to play, and I'm so glad that it's like available on Extra. Dragon Quest 11, because apparently it is fantastic.
I've heard good
Um,
things. Yeah, it's builders
so
that I want to play.
I've heard nothing but great things about Dragon Quest 11. Um, Apparently, it's an RPG done right, and it's definitely a worthy Dragon Quest entry.
The thing is though, like you don't mark the next DQ on your calendar and get it on release. You know, it's not like FF16 where we had it pre-ordered and shit like that. If a new DQ comes out, half the time I don't even notice, and if I hear it's good, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I'll think about it. I
No, true, but
understand a
there
lot
are
of it's
people who
personal.
have grown up with it. People who've grown up with it.
Yeah, again, it's just I don't feel like it's big here. Definitely
Hmm.
other places, but this is why I feel like my thing's skewed because I don't know anybody that's a diehard DQ fan except Florin.
And Beeb. Beeb loves his GQ.
Okay, but he's not people. All right, he is literally the guy
How could
who
you say that?
I'll present my case and you may judge
Okay.
later. Okay, first point of evidence, right? He is literally the person who is making a name for himself on the tube, on the YouTube. Go and check out his stuff if you haven't already. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
As the dude who plays the weird niche shit that nobody's heard of. So that doesn't help your case. All right. The
Yeah.
second thing, I've got it on good authority that he sleeps upside down and in a cocoon. All right. So there's that. And third, has he ever actually came into your house without being invited first?
Well, you are being rebuked in the chat. That is blatantly false. I don't sleep.
All right, he waits in a cocoon.
He waits.
He meditates in the cocoon.
Beeb does not sleep, he waits.
When he goes into the cocoon, that's so he can dream walk and get in people's nightmares. He just shows up in the nightmare, and it's almost like like a pop-up ad, but for a weird game.
Well, I mean, like, if you do like that sort of niche indie game content, then yeah, he's definitely the YouTube channel for you. Go and check him out.
I feel like the Black Mirror episode for Bebop would be that it's like some kind of Ender's Game shit where you're preparing for a huge space battle, and then as soon as you get into the fucking ship, he's your co-pilot, and it just turns into Parodius. All of a sudden, you're fighting giant space bums.
Giant space bums. All right, well, since he is not going to plug himself, I am going to plug him for him. So there you go. Anyone wants to check him out? There is the link.
I think you just did an autocorrect. It's pegging. Pegging he likes, not plugging. Pegging.
Right, okay, more Square Enix schedule.
Oh god, right, yep.
More Square Enix schedule, right? Okay, next game, Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. It's the 28th of this month. Okay.
See, I had no clue.
So I'm going to give the dates. So next one is a game series I've always wanted to try because I've heard it's really good but never have, and that's Star Ocean. The second story R is coming out on the 2nd of November.
I remember playing Star Ocean Till the End of Time on the PS2 when I was much younger. And I remember enjoying the gameplay, but I wasn't old enough to understand the story.
Right, okay, a bit advanced.
It's kind of like you play FF7 when you're a kid and you're blown away because it's like a revolution in gaming and the gameplay and the visuals and all that, and then you go back as an adult and you go, oh, I'm a terrorist.
Yep, you're like, oh, that is definitely
yeah, that's
definitely got parallels with climate change.
Yeah, are we the baddies? Are we the baddies?
Is Mako really oil? Is that what we're going here for here?
Oh my god, Hojo wanted them to fuck.
Oh my god.
But Hojo, how does making a half dog, half girl help either of the species? Shut up.
So I mean, Star Ocean. I mean, for the again, kind of a niche series. So if anyone is looking forward to a new Star Ocean game, then they're going to be pretty pleased. I don't think, like you say, I don't think it has the broad appeal that some other franchises might.
I'm not sure what it is about these games, because Star Ocean is, maybe it's because people think it's Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe people are like, I liked it better when it was called PSO.
Well, maybe they bought it and got suckered in, and then there was like, all right, okay, I like Star Ocean now.
Do you think it was, like they had Metal Gear and then Metal Gear Solid, but they're almost considered like different series? And there's people out there that are like, PSO, now it's just SO, what's next? Oh?
So we have actually a PSO enthusiast in our midst. One of our streaming colleagues who's present with me at the moment was a PSO adherent, and there's something that I've actually been meaning for us to do just to kind of just for the giggles is on on the Nintendo Switch Online you can get the old console stuff.
Yes.
So like the NES and the SNES,
Yes.
On that game library is the original Phantasy Star.
Oh.
I've been meaning to boot that up, just for nostalgia's sake.
I was looking at some of the games that were on that library, the big nostalgia boys, and man, they just they don't make them like they used to, but they're still
Yeah.
making them pretty fucking good. And I'm sure we'll move on to that in a bit. I want to have a wee discussion on about some stuff and things like that.
Yeah, sounds good. We have so here next on the release schedule, just to motor us along here, is another Dragon Quest game.
Oh, another one.
It's Dragon Quest Monsters, which is on the
Oh,
Switch.
yeah, this is the weird one where it was
It's
like the
kind of like
bad
Pokemon.
guy. Yeah, it was the bad guy from one of the previous DQ adventures.
Yeah. Yeah, so so they're doing so they have obviously that, which is a very different type of game. Again, it is more like Pokemon, or as the case may be. I think it looks maybe like it could be a bit more like Digimon World, where you like recruit the monsters. I don't know how much I don't know whether you summon them or whether you go around recruiting them. It's not clear.
Well, if it's going to take from Digimon World, it better have the number one gameplay mechanic that made Digimon World stand out from everything else, which was the ability to scald your monsters and make them eat their own shit. Disobey me, huh? Eat poo.
Ah, Jerry, come to rub my face in urine again.
Oh no.
So that's the next one. Next up, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Right, okay.
Which is going to be quarter one 24.
I'm going to predict that will sell. I'm actually going to say not as well as Remake.
I think you're probably right, and because you're going to get the people who came to Remake in the first instance hoping for something, and then realizing that is not what they got. You're going to get the natural amount of people falling off, and people are gonna like maybe gravitate back to the first one. I don't know if they're smart, and again, this is expecting a lot from Square Enix, but if they're smart, they're releasing some kind of bundle.
Yeah, definitely. The reason that I don't think it's going to do as well is because this will be the first one that's a true, Intergrade, I guess, but this will be the first one that's a true PS5 exclusive title, because the other one was obviously PS4 and then it had the PS5 upgrade.
Yeah, speaking of which, I still need to play Intergrade. Oh, that might need to be a matter of priority.
Yeah, same. Actually, I'm probably going to move on to that kind of now, because I'm finished with 16 fully.
Sounds good.
Yeah, managed to get the platinum, managed to finish New Game Plus. Now I
Nice.
can finish full thoughts about it and full review, and I kind of feel like my overall score for it is probably going to be a 7, but I could not. If somebody said 6, I wouldn't argue with them. But I personally, it's almost like the gaming equivalent to the last Spider-Man movie. Like,
yeah,
it was objectively as a movie that is dog shit. It's like a 4, but it made me feel good. What the fuck?
That was amazing. But the thing, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like there is, like, as we have already discussed, there is so much wrong with this game, but we still enjoyed it. We still came away from it thinking that was such an amazing experience, and it, like the shortcomings. It's not that they didn't matter, but we still enjoyed them. We still enjoyed it despite them.
Absolutely, it's just it's a very interesting case study. I think that people are going to be looking at it, and The weird thing is, the game doesn't feel like it's got much of a debate to it. You know, like when The Last of Us 2 was doing the rounds, the big debate was, you know, the people thought it was either a masterpiece or it was a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the debate the kind of only kind of big debate that was I suppose was going around was is this is this really the new Final Fantasy? And of course, I mean the answer to that is like yes, every Final Fantasy is the new Final Fantasy. Even the one that comes after this one will be new.
I feel like the one that comes after this one is going to be very similar to 16, but with all of the missing RPG elements.
I think the next one's going to be another MMO.
Think?
I think 17 is the next MMO. I think they're gonna when they retire 14, 17 will come out.
Do you think?
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then
think. I don't think.
and then
I don't think 14's
18's
getting
going to
retired.
be well, it's on our list a bit further down, but the they have said that this is the last expansion. This is essentially their victory lap.
Have they? Maybe. I just don't know if. I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, the only other kind of the big like kind of I suppose you could call it like a controversy around the game was the fact that it's all very European, and people were making a bit of a stink about representation, and the dev team just came back and said, well, you know, it's based on medieval Europe and based on medieval European politics, both actual and fictional.
It's probably because I'm the white male, and I've had the privilege of seeing myself represented constantly, but I just feel as though the representation argument doesn't really hold much weight because, like, see the people that I looked up to when I was a kid,
Hmm.
it was like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not a green turtle. Nobody I know is a green turtle, but I still identify with Michelangelo and Raphael,
Hmm.
and still was able to take away things. Piccolo's a fucking alien, and I still was like, I want to be like
Yeah.
Piccolo. Nanaki is a fucking lab rat
Lab
dog,
rat dog.
and I still wanted to like draw all life lessons and stuff from Nanaki. Like I feel like people, if you know, it's super easy to superimpose yourself over the racial template that fits your base character build. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I feel like well written characters, regardless of age, race, gender, species, are going to speak to people way more than one that just kind of looks like them a wee bit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've got a rebirth in Q1 24, and the next game is Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail, which is summer 24.
All right, so we're going to make a little bit of money back in this wee window.
Yeah, so this wee window, by the way, being the first half of 2024.
Oh well, they need it soon, so that's probably good for them.
Yeah, and the next there are more games here.
You've not said the one that I'm most excited about.
Oh no, there are more games here, but none of them have release windows.
Oh dear.
None of them. So
Square,
I'm gonna
all of your eggs
I'm gonna,
appear to be in the one basket.
so here is the TBA section.
Okay.
So we have Dying Light 2.
Not sure that's going to make them much money. I guess that just depends on how expensive it was to make.
We have the Final Fantasy 13 series coming to PC, where it can ruin a whole other load of people's lives.
Excellent. Nude Claire mods incoming.
We have Final Fantasy 14 all the way up to Stormblood coming out for Mac, PC, PS3, PS4.
P- PS3?
Yeah, I guess.
What?
Yeah, apparently they're doing the backwards compatibility thing. I don't know. That's what it
That
says on their webpage. It could be a typo.
okay? That's weird.
We have a working title game for Oculus Rift, which is Project Hikari. We have Bubble Bobble 4, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. Dragon Quest Keshi Keshi, final name to be confirmed, for Android and iOS. We have Dragon Quest 12, Kingdom Hearts 4, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link for Android and iOS.
Oh no, not again!
Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. We now have a date for that. That's clearly not been updated. That's the 7th of September. And we have that Foam Stars game, which is basically Splatoon.
There it is.
And all of them are TBA. They have no release window on the website whatsoever.
I'd like to clarify that Twitter is saying that Foam Stars is Splatoon for straight people.
Ah.
And we're going to need a bit more than straight people Splatoon to dig us out this hole. But there are some things there that I think will keep them out of bankruptcy or out of administration or whatever. But I do feel as though...
Out of being bought.
Well, that's the thing. That's exactly what I was just about to say. I feel as though right now they are more prime than ever for Sony to sweep in and be like, Square, come on, I've got a spare room. Come on.
There was a small kind of conspiracy theorist part of me that was thinking, is Square deliberately running itself into the ground so it may be purchased?
No.
Is it saying to itself, right, okay, this is our nosedive so that Sony will come and rescue us?
Do you think they took one look at the ActiveBliz acquisition and they went, what do ActiveBliz do that we don't do? Dog shit games. Right, okay. Here's the strat, guys. We're going to make bad decisions publicly until everybody hates us like they do them. And then somebody will pay 100 billion trillion million yen for us. What do you say? And the other guy was like, can we do NFTs? Absolutely. He's like, yeah, man. Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, people hate NFTs. Nothing will drive us into the ground quicker than that. But no, it's like I say, it's more the sort of daft conspiracy theory part of me. But I think I was just so stunned that Square was driving itself into the pavement just with alarming speed.
They are hitting the pavement in the same way that Lara hit the pavement when I was controlling her back in the 90s.
But and like, you know, I was going to say this earlier on. Do you know there is another series of games that Square released in partnership with Platinum Games, other than Babylon's Fall? Do you know what that game series is?
Asura's Wrath? I don't know.
No, it's the Nier series.
Oh, right. I've not played them.
Yeah, so the Nier series was released with Platinum Games. So Babylon's Fall should have fucking knocked it out of the park. All the potential was there. And yet they made a garbage, microtransaction riddled dungeon crawler that was that looked like it was 3 consoles too old.
Well, you know, my friend, it's been well documented that a game cannot launch without microtransactions and be successful. Wink.
I was going to say Larian Studios would like a word. FromSoft would like a word.
What's that? Tears of the Kingdom's calling?
Oh, your inbox is blowing up.
What's that, Skippy?
you got Miyazaki. What's his face? Mr. Vinke from Larian Studios and Eiji Onuma in your DMs right now, furious.
We're, we're
Are we
actually
dirt to you?
we're actually all in a group chat, so it's just
Yeah.
it's just popped up the boys with a Z at the end and a grapefruit emoji. Yeah, so me and the boys, we told Miyazaki that it's a poison swamp and he loves it. He's got no idea. He keeps sending it and he doesn't know. Some laugh. No, just yeah, let's talk about that. We're done with Square Enix. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a game that came out and it's doing things and people are talking about it, and I've not played anything of it yet, and I don't actually really feel particularly strongly about it as a game yet. I'm not hype about
Mm-hmm.
it, but um, I cannot ignore the discourse that's being held about this game at the minute. So let's get into
Yeah.
that.
So we're
What
gonna.
if what if I
So.
told you? What if I told you,
Mhm.
chat? Huddle round. I'm gonna tell you a story. What if I told you about a
Gather your
game?
party, as it will.
What if I told you about a game that didn't have microtransactions, that was complete and functional at launch,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't require any kind of launcher or DRM to play? Not even Steam.
What if also in this game you could make your own character as you see fit, regardless of your regardless of any preference whatsoever in terms of playable race, gender. You can you can anything. The world is your oyster in this character creator. You can make any type of game, any type of a character for this game you want.
What if we told you that the studio that made it, they weren't some massive. It wasn't Ubi. It wasn't Squenix. It wasn't one of the big names. It wasn't From. It wasn't anything like that. Little known studio. Just doing their thing. The guy that runs it, the CEO or whatever. He was actually part of the development team. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Wild, shocking allegations.
Imagine that the game doesn't come with any day one DLC optional content that must be purchased separately. It doesn't have an online storefront. You can't even buy cosmetics to change the way your character looks because all of that stuff's just in the game.
I think they're missing a trick there, to be honest. I think that if they released Penis Pack 1, they would make like Pornhub money off those penises.
Well, do you know? I've got a funny story about just that. Actually, a friend of mine has been playing this game, and uh, was sending us pictures of the character creator, and he decided to replicate one of the characters that he has played at the D&D table while I've been there. So it's kind of cool to see that character brought to life in 3D in a game. But we saw rather a little too much of him. And one of the pictures that was sent across was what I can only describe as first of all, you got to know that this character is an orc, and what I can only describe as a beer can wrapped in green leather.
There's a girthy boy.
Not half.
Dear God, I really feel like there should be maybe I should do a web comic. I have all these
Yeah.
ideas, but I'm imagining this game coming out with its inbuilt PP and titty sliders,
Mm-hmm.
and the modern community just kind of looking at each other like, so what do we do? And
Well, I
one of
mean,
them turns around and goes, "We just play the game."
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's reason to suggest that the modding community for this is going to be reasonably active in the sense that it's essentially homebrew when you think about it, because you got like, I mean, the Baldur's Gate 3 has, Larian Studios have the benefit of having D&D as an IP that they're adapting, and that is such a wealth of things to draw from, but it also taps into a very, very creative community, and that's got to come through in the modding scene for the game. Absolutely, there's no way it doesn't.
I would think so, especially with all of the amazing stuff that people have already been able to add into just the tabletop game that they want to see translated into this digital medium.
Yeah, and the one thing about the game that did give me pause was apparently the maximum level you can reach as a character is level 12, which when it's out of 20, did make me pause for a moment. But at the same time, when you're playing actual D&D, some of the best gameplay comes between I would say levels 7 and 12, or 7 to 14. Which is like that middle ground, and they're in that sweet spot for the climax of the game, which doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, well, the game can get a bit soupy once you start getting
Mhm.
too many abilities, and there'll be some classes in the game where it's like, all right, time to roll your dice, and then the screen just pops up with like 400 little dice.
But the response to it, as you say, has been absolutely nuts. It's only out on PC just now, and at one point it had over 800,000 concurrent players on Steam.
That is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, and for as we take the piss obviously with that whole bit at the start about the microtransactions and compared to other games on the market right now, and the craziest part about it is like it is no bullshit. Like, this is a feature complete game that you can buy with your own money, not have to spend anything else, and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay out of it.
It's not dissimilar to how games were in like the 90s.
Yeah,
Like
and
FF7. Like this is one of those like modern equivalent to the 3-disc game
mhm.
where you're going into it and you're going to get your money's worth and then some more.
Yeah, and I'm like, there seems to be, just every now and again, there seems to be a game that's coming out these days that does does adhere to like these kind of principles and does surprise everyone. Like the last one we had that was kind of like this, of course, was Elden Ring, which was a single player open world game, but it didn't have any of the open world cliches. It was a niche concept. It was a Souls game where not a lot of people had really done Dark Souls comparatively to the wider gaming market, and then it comes out and it sells 20 million copies, and like that was like and the response to that at the time as well is the response that Baldur's Gate 3 is getting right now, in the sense that like other devs were coming out of the woodwork and passing comment on it, and some of those comments were not helpful. Some of those comments where they came across as bitter in the face of its success rather than celebrating its success. I think the only devs that I can really get behind in that Elden Ring release window was the Horizon Zero Dawn people, because one of their devs came out and made a comment about Elden Ring being bad game design. And I think that is just bitterness, because every time Guerrilla Software have released a Horizon game, it's been eclipsed by something else. So yeah, like whenever they release something, for some reason or other, something else gets put out and it doesn't stand a fucking chance.
It's just they really need the planning guys to be more on top of this.
Yeah, their marketing team and like scheduling team need to be like fired wholesale and essentially repopulated.
Like at this point, it's statistically unlikely that you could pick that many dates and
Hmm.
get it wrong, like that wrong, that often.
Yeah.
Like, they've got to be trying. It may be a psyop.
And like, there are people who are saying, that this should be, a new standard for role playing games. And there's a complex discussion going on about that particular statement right now. And like, the one that kind of resonates with me most, I suppose, is, yeah, as a standard, it's probably the highest standard that we have right now. And there are games that are going to shoot for that standard and they're going to get close. But there are games that are, they're nowhere near the level of scope that Baldur's Gate is going to do, and are like indie titles that are perfectly well designed, or like doing what they need to do, but not with the level of scope and polish that Baldur's Gate might have. And like, this is Larian's first game in like 6 years. I think this game has been in development for. Yeah, it's six years that it's been in development for. 3 of those years, the game has been in early access, so it's been in an open test state where anyone could play the first chapter. And they've been taking points from the community on. Taking points from the community on what is good about the game, what is bad about the game, and they're using it as a living, breathing development process. And not a lot of studios can or would do that.
Son of a bitch.
But it's I think that with the sort of games that we have been getting that are not like Baldur's Gate and not like Elden Ring, I think, some of these AAA studios, your Activision Blizzards, your EAs, your Ubisofts, that sort of thing, they, that to a certain degree, they should feel a bit shown up.
Absolutely.
Because this is clearly what the people want. They don't want the live service bullshit, because like when if you think about like when a game like that gets released, sure, it's going to have attention. It's going to have nowhere near the level of attention this game's getting.
It's the classic analogy of being a shit eater, eating shit. People have been eating shit for so long, and now somebody has boldly served something that isn't shit.
Chocolate cake.
And people are like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! What is this? Hey guys, have you heard about this? It's not shit." And then people try it and they're like, "Whoa, this isn't shit! Oh my god!" And
Can't believe it.
And then
it's not shit.
all the people that have been selling you the shit that you've been eating for years are like, "Hey, what's wrong with my shit? You were eating it just fine. What's going on here?" And it's a natural evolution of competition in any industry. Somebody's going to come out and do stuff better, but it's like, what constitutes a revolutionary game changes every time a new one comes out. There was nothing like Dark Souls before Dark Souls. Well, Demon Souls. But
Yeah.
there was nothing like FF7 before FF7. There was nothing like BioShock before BioShock, and now every
Yep.
one of those games has had another version come out that has taken the formula and elevated it, and then something's came out that's taken that elevated formula and elevated it and changed it so it doesn't resemble the first formula, but it's still kind of, and it's just that's just how we do things. And I
Yeah.
think
And
if more genres did this,
mhm.
fuck, can you imagine if they brought out like a sports game that wasn't the same sports game they've been selling for 20 years?
Can you imagine such a thing? But the thing is, like, I think there is something to be said for Larian's process through this. I mean, like, it's not something that most game studios could do. And they've already kind of been shown to be like experts in their craft from the game that they previously released, which I've not played. I really want to play. It's the Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yes, I've heard nothing but good things.
And again, yeah, heard nothing but good things about it. Nines and tens out of 10 across the board, and it's like again, it is a sprawling, tabletop esque RPG. So like Baldur's Gate was almost like kind of the natural evolution, just getting to work with a bigger IP.
Hmm. It's the proof of concept for them.
But on PS5, it comes out on the 2nd of September, I think.
Yes, it's a
Um,
very busy month for us, though, that
yeah.
month.
Well, I mean, considering I've already got Armored Core on pre-order, it's going to be a very busy time.
Well, you've got Armored Core coming out at the end of August, then you've got,
Yep.
and
On
before,
Bank Holiday weekend, I
yeah,
can't wait.
and I'm pretty sure Vampire Survivors is out like tomorrow on
I
Switch.
mean, I've been thoroughly enjoying that on my phone. That is my I've got 10 minutes game.
I can't wait for the Switch version for the co-op. Like, I just can't wait to have something. Doesn't matter. Anybody at all comes over, you can just throw on Vampire Survivors. There you go. Just run
Yeah.
around. There's no way. You can't really fuck this up. Perfection.
So I think that the last. That's not the last of our charms, is it?
Yes, it
No,
is.
there's. That is the last one. Okay, excellent.
And let's have increased, reduced, reduced all damage by a moderate amount. That seems good.
Nice.
Ding.
Oh, by the way, see your top two.
Yes.
This is just a quick thing. Your top two are bigger slots, so that one you've got on the top slot is probably not the best one you could have. You could have one of the big golden ones in there.
What does that do? Oh, killing enemies restores a moderate amount of health. Slowly recover health while out of combat. Oh, okay. Well, we'll take the charm of Amaterasu.
Yeah, that's actually a better version of what you actually had on.
Excellent.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's very very exciting. For I would say for gaming at the moment, especially in this house.
Well, the other game's coming out in September, just after Baldur's Gate. You've got Lies of P coming out in the same day as
Hmm.
Mortal Kombat.
I didn't realize they were the same day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same day. And Mortal Kombat clashes with something. And,
Yeah,
if
and
it's between MK and Lies of P, probably going Lies of P.
yeah, and I don't know if you saw, but they're already catching a bit of flack for having day one monetized content in their game
With the
for
DLC.
for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, for the combat pack. That's the thing. Fighting games are games that need to. I feel like there should almost be like a quiet, unspoken gentleman's agreement where you put the game out with as much stuff in it as you can and then sell me more stuff later when you bring out DLC characters.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like, fighting games, you're always going to want more characters. I don't think
Mhm.
it's. I think that a character in a fighting game is always going to be one of those justified DLCs, unless
Yeah.
you are doing it in a really predatory manner, like these characters could have been in the game at launch. You know, it needs to
Oh
be.
no, no bones about it. These characters are in the game at launch. They just happen to be behind paywalls.
Yeah, that's really shitty. It should be the game should come out with everything in it available at launch, give people time to get used to it, and then you start dropping in new shit and breaking the game's meta with fucking Leroy and Fakum Ram and shit like this.
Yeah. So yeah, it's it's disappointing to see things like that. But then I don't know. Like I think like with the whole Baldur's Gate hype thing, I think the most predominant feeling that it gives me is actually kind of hope, and that is that because it's come out in the way that it has, and had this meteoric success, that the game, almost the gaming public is going to maybe take notice and have the awareness that not all games are like this, but games can be like this.
Um, I might have a more kind of cynical take on what I think this will do to the gaming industry, but I don't think we'll actually see any results of this for quite some time, like maybe even 5 to 10 years, because I
I
think
think
that
maybe it's going to take a third one. I think like because we've had Elden Ring, which was like massive runaway success out of nowhere. We've now had Baldur's Gate 3, which is massive and is only going to get more massive when it comes out on PlayStation in September. It's not coming out on Xbox yet. This is another L for Microsoft, unfortunately.
oh guys,
I don't know if you've heard about this particular bit of news that goes with it, but they are having significant problems with porting to specifically the Xbox Series S, the lower powered console.
okay.
They're having significant problems getting it to run on that lower powered system because the game is pretty demanding on the console or rig that it's put on, and they are committed to having the game be playable on both Xbox consoles because they don't want to release it just for the X
Hang on a minute, where the
and then
fuck am I?
have
Where are my subtitles?
good question.
What the fuck happened there? What did they say?
Okay, maybe head into the menu and make sure that's on.
But they've been on the whole night. What happened?
Yeah, they have. Bet they're going to start now as well.
Let's find out. No? What the
No,
fuck is
no,
it?
no, they're off. Right, okay,
Is,
what's
is there
happening
a
here?
is there a button to toggle that? There must be a toggle. How did?
Oh, right, okay.
What the fuck?
Happened there.
Oh my god, the Ghost of Tsushima's in the menu.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's going to take a third one. Maybe there will be, another wondrous game somewhere down the line
See, the thing is,
that's going to take us over the edge.
the reason that I'm saying I don't think we're going to see the results of this for a good few years yet is because I don't think that the existing slew of devs that are all kind of they're almost unionizing against this kind of game development because they don't want it to do it. I think that they won't change their ways. I think they'll almost double down on their way as the way because it's our way. Fuck you guys. but I think there will be a whole cycle of people that are inspired to get into the industry because they want to make games like Baldur's Gate 3.
Hmm.
And I think we could see down the line passionate development becoming the forefront as opposed to this monetized development just because it's a new generation of gamers that have been inspired by a really fucking hype little window of games.
Yeah, and I really hope that's true, and I hope that you know, my hope kind of off of that would be, I hope that it inspires game developers that are in the industry right now, like that are maybe toiling away in obscurity in some AAA dungeon somewhere, and they're able to make the games that they want to make. Because that's the real tragic thing about this is that the people who are grafting away making games for us to play, they don't want to they don't want to put their names to absolute shit. I mean, like the bit like the an example that I can pull, just from thin air, is do you remember Evolve?
Yeah.
Right, so the studio behind Evolve, Turtle Rock Studios, they are, they bear all the hallmarks of a passionate, hard-working little indie game studio, and the narrative from what I've heard from people who worked at Turtle Rock Studio is that they plugged away making this game as in depth and detailed as they possibly could. They did it to a standard that was the best that they could do with what they had, and the publisher 2K Games were the ones that put the ones that insisted upon the storefront, the day one DLC, the suite of additional content that you could buy for hundreds and hundreds of dollars/pounds, and like the people who are working on these games, they don't have that in their mind when they're making a game. They want to make a good game, and
Yeah.
I think we need to get the game industry's priorities out of the boardroom and back towards the players. That is what we need. And I think with if that is something that is happening, that it looks to be happening right now with Baldur's Gate, because as you say, the CEO is on the dev team with them.
He's in the trenches, boys.
Yeah, he's plugging away with them. Recently, there was a rumor come out that that Microsoft were planning on acquiring Larian Studios at one point, and in response to this being leaked or revealed, the CEO of Larian Studios just flat out said, "And we would have said no." So that's the attitude. That is the based attitude that we're dealing with.
That's a pretty big dick statement to just sling down on the table.
He literally said, "I think I've got a few years left in me yet
This
to run
guy,
this show."
this guy, from what I've understood, he is actually making a name for himself by being a bit of a gangster with his replies to like people's criticism. Like this man is not taking any bullshit. He is throwing down receipts to disprove
Uh-huh.
any of the accusations. He is openly, it's not like the games came
Mm-hmm.
out, let people talk, let them say what it is. Anybody says some shit, he is right out there, just like, where's your proof? Here's mine.
Yeah,
And it's
and
such a big dick thing to do.
and like obviously you get like these days with games, obviously there's patches. You will get, I know, triggering. You will get a patch on day one in most cases with a lot of games, to try and fine tune things that
And
happen right at the
I,
beginning.
and I understand that, right? The way I always
Hmm.
took the day one patch was we made the game, up until the point where we were mandated to put it into production for shipping for the disc copies, but there's still stuff we would have liked to do, and now we've got the technology to squeeze in a little bit of extra development time after what we would have normally had as our full cut off. And like, I almost see that as a kind of a positive thing when you. It's definitely positive when you look at it that way, but when people are using it as part of their scheduled development time instead of an additional extra bit of time, that's when it starts to get soupy and shitty.
And Larian have said they've said recently that they are planning on bringing out a really really big patch. It's going to have like a lot of fixes and a lot of that is going to have some additional things thrown in as well. And what they've said is we're not gonna sit here and like itemize it and put it all on a website for you all to pour over. You'll get it when it's ready, and when it comes, it'll be good. So yeah, stay tuned.
I'm
So
pretty sure.
they've not done that roadmap thing where they say, oh yeah, we're going to do this on this in this month, and it never happens.
Again, for something like Baldur's Gate, I don't think a roadmap's necessary. Just the acknowledgement that there is going to be some kind of support for it going forward. That's fine. It's not like it's like a fighting game needs a roadmap. I think you need to know there's
Yeah.
stuff coming out. You need to know that the game's being supported and going to be kept alive. Otherwise, it's going to do a Nick All Stars brawl and it's going to die and then resurrect itself like the fucking Phoenix with a sequel
Yeah.
out of nowhere, and it's going to sell the game on memes, and it's going to remove my two mains from the roster. So what the fuck? Who am I meant to play?
But yeah, we will be getting it on day one. So we will give you our initial reports
Yes.
of the console version, because obviously PC version's out in the wild already. People are loving it. The scores speak for themselves. But the console port we will give our day one reports for.
Speaking of ports, there's a game that you've been playing that I really like, and I would like your thoughts on it. Tell me about Returnal. I don't know if we did this already, but tell me about Returnal.
I'd love to tell you about Returnal. So, Returnal has been a very challenging experience.
Right.
So, I really love the primary loop of Returnal. Loop being the operative word. Because for anyone who's listening who hasn't played this game or is maybe only dimly aware of it, the way this game works is that you start the game, you crash your spaceship, you get out, and you start walking around in third person shooter. Now you will gradually obtain items, which will buff you. You'll get new weapons. One or two of these one of these items, maybe in your first run, will be a permanent item. And I say that because when you die in Returnal, you scream, the screen goes black, you crash your spaceship, you get out your spaceship, you are in third person shooter mode again, and the game begins all over again. Now, as I say, there's items that survive from run to run, but all of your pickups, your weapons, your buffs, all that stuff is all reset, and you go to the starting pistol again. And it is a roguelike game in that regard, and it is fantastic. It just seems to grow as you go on, and there's more like you kind of uncover the kind of mystery of each area, and it is mysterious because not only is the game roguelike, but the rooms in the areas, the rooms are all randomly arranged. Sometimes you'll see the same room that you've seen in a previous run, and you'll recognize it, but they're all in a different order each time that you die and restart, and that makes for some pretty, like kind of. I'm finding it addictive. Do you get that?
Yeah, it's a very one more run game.
Yeah, it is. It is. that is what I'm thinking all the time when I play it. It's like if I die and it's a stupid death, I'm like, right, okay, no, I need another go at that. One more run, and like inexplicably, like sometimes your runs are can be quite short. If you're up against something like, for example, I got to the first boss and it was really really hard, and I started like exploring the first area, as like densely as I possibly could, like just combing through it to try and find something that would give me an edge or an advantage. And when you get to a boss, there are kind of elements of like almost Dark Souls level design in the sense that if once you've gotten to the boss for the first time, it's very, very much easier to get back for another attempt. But you're constantly kind of figuring out what's better and how you can get better stuff to give yourself an advantage. And then you eventually get to a new area once you beat that boss, which you can then get back to that second area quicker. But there's things in the first area that I've still not explored because there's items. I'm assuming because I don't know for certain. I've not spoiled myself, but I'm assuming there's a grappling hook.
I also have the same assumption and cannot confirm.
Yeah, so I'm assuming there's a grappling hook because there are fairly obvious grapple points around that first area that I've not been able to use. And they're for areas that I haven't explored in that first area yet, and I know that it's probably going to pop up somewhere else, and I'll go back to these places in a sort of Metroidy sort of way.
Hmm. The next time you run into them, you're like, oh yeah, now I can see what this new bit in this place that I've seen 1,000 times is, so it's still something worth seeing.
Yep, and because you start every time, you load up the game every time you start at your crashed ship right at the beginning, you have the opportunity to go and seek these things out.
I don't want anybody to get scared by the description of being stuck alone on a crash, like on an alien planet on your crash ship. You're not alone. You are actually followed around by your invisible best friend, who is a spaceman.
Yeah, there are certainly horror elements to it, and it seems to be leaning more into the sort of cosmic horror thing, which I really like. That there is a deep sort of dread of the unknown at the heart of this game, despite the fact that it is a very adrenaline-driven shooter.
That's
Because you're constantly dashing about and trying not to get hit, so that your surprise surprise adrenaline meter stays high.
this is the thing that I noticed immediately. This is a fast game.
Yeah, it is demanding of you.
Like Celine looks like she might be in her kind of late 40s, early 50s, but god damn, she's wasted on this space expedition. She should be on a track and field team.
Yeah, she's got some cybernetics going on that we are not privy to.
Oh, maybe she's got the robot legs.
Maybe that's why
Oh,
we run so fast.
maybe, yeah, maybe at some point
Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the fast running and breezing through certain rooms.
I think maybe she's got like later on in the game the legs on her trousers are gonna get ripped. Asshole, come back and speak to me. The legs on her trousers are going to get ripped, and then the material's going to split, and her legs are going to pop out like the fucking the spider legs that General Grievous ends up with, or
She's
Maul ends up with.
aye, they're gonna split into another into like three pairs. So you
Yeah,
just go around like a D&D drider.
yeah, she's just scuttling around like some kind of mechanical spider.
But yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying it. I need to let there is that what I will say, just because it is so demanding of the player, is I am having to do it in little bits.
A little bit.
Like I can like there are times where I am able to completely head charge Returnal, but there are times where I need to take it off the boil just for a moment.
It's oh my god, a bear. It's one of those ones. It's like you said. It's a one more run kind of game, but it's one of those games where if you don't make the progress, like when you collect the items in the game and you go through it, the progression that your character gets isn't in levels or permanent gear that makes you stronger. It's knowledge, and
Hmm.
as soon as you have the knowledge to deal with an encounter and you know an enemy's moveset, then it's basically it's just a very mechanical. Like you just do the thing, press the
Hmm.
buttons in the right order kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can get through the whole game without picking up even a better weapon if you don't want to. It would obviously help,
Hmm.
but uh, once you've got the knowledge to get through a section, that's you gotten the most valuable resource out of that run possible. But when you're running through it constantly and you're doing runs where you're like, I didn't learn anything, I didn't get anything, I just wasted time. It can feel very oppressive.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like that's made no more obvious, nowhere more obvious rather than the PS home screen. Because you know how the game gives you know how like the PS5 gives you like percentage of roughly how far you are through some games.
Yes.
So I've been playing Returnal. I've done a good few hours, and I am at like what 12%, something like that. And it feels like it should be. It feels like it should be more than that, and I was kind of expecting it to be more than that. Like, I remember it was at like 11% at one point. So what's it at just now? I'm just going to check. It is currently at 17%, and I remember it was at 11% before the first boss, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay." So I kill the boss. I'm gonna jump up, right? I literally like jumped up like one or two. It clearly does not regard that boss as much of a milestone.
No, it made me a bit worried because I know that there's only like 5 or 6 actual zones in the game, or at least that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
So do you know that way when that one went up, I was like, oh my god, how big is the next one? How big is the next one? But I'm not sure if it includes just like unlocking things as well as part of that percentage.
possibly, yeah. But I have been so that I suppose that is my verdict. I so far I am thoroughly enjoying it, but I do need to be, I do need to like be in a frame of mind where it's not going to absolutely crush me and destroy my soul.
We should definitely get a wee co-op game of it soon.
Yeah, co-op could be fun.
Although that said, we do have some hunting to do. The title update for Sunrise is going to be coming out, or Sunbreak is going to be
Oh
coming out very
that,
soon.
yeah, that is soon. Yeah, that'll be, and that's Amatsu Magatsuchi, I think, and Primordial Mazino.
That one,
Ugh.
I know who that one is. I don't know the other one. I've never fought that other one. That's going to be so exciting.
Amatsu is from, I believe, Monster Hunter 3 or Try. I think it was 3 Ultimate. And it is an Elder Dragon. It's kind of, I don't know if it was like, put as exactly the same threat level, but it's kind of on the same threat level as Alatreon, roughly.
Mm, awesome. Right,
And it is like essentially the Storm Master.
Jesus. Right, before we go on, I have to jump to the toilet very shortly. I'll be right back.
So we are carving a path into this upper portion of the map. And when I was playing Tsushima, I remember being in the first part and then zooming out to see the rest of the island and seeing how massive it was and going, "Oh shit!" But the side quests that you do fill most of it in, and you can liberate like little outposts and villages and things like that, and they will fill most of the map in. The the only things you really need to go off the beaten path for are, the things that will improve Jin as a character. So you get like the springs, where he gets his arse out, and we get a bit more health. We have the bamboo cutting things, which will increase our focus or resolve. Is it resolve? I think it's called resolve in this game. The yellow stuff. But yeah, we've also got like the kind of other off the beaten path stuff, like the haikus, the different sword kits that we can get to make the sword look different. That's the sort of stuff you go off the beaten path for and explore for in this. But everything else is fairly. I mean, all the quests are fairly well traveled, so you end up getting most of it filled in. But as for our objectives, so we've got contact the Shogun for samurai reinforcements. So we're gonna need to talk to mainland Japan. We have the people of Yarikawa to form an army. So Yarikawa is one of the bigger settlements we'll get to, and we need to claim our family armor, which is going to be hype.
Okay, when
Yo.
how did I trigger the ambush?
Okay, so we're waiting for it.
Hold.
There will be a signal.
Hold. Hold.
And then we fire at a barrel.
Is it this barrel?
Yeah, that one or the one to the back of the pack. There we go.
That'll do her. How did you guys all... The horse count as armor for you? Or are you my guys? Nah, they're good guys. Never mind, I'm just being an asshole. Holy shit. It's guerrilla warfare. So let's spend a moment. We were just talking about a very good game made by very passionate developers. Let's talk about something on the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, let's do that.
Diablo 4.
Yes.
I am so fucking sick of having to speak about this game. But
I'm so glad
week,
I didn't buy it.
Oh god, every week there's something new. Every week, and this week's no exception. I don't know if you've seen the latest from the marketing for Diablo 4.
Mate, I can't keep up. They're shooting themselves in the foot with alarming regularity.
Well, they've just done it again with an absolute banger. So have
Right.
you heard anything about their latest video?
I don't think so, no.
Alright, so the concept is that you get to see developers who actually work on the game playing the game and talking about it. And they put forward 2 employees to sit on a couch, kind of like a fucking casting couch, if I'm honest. They're sitting there, they are playing the game. 2 seconds. Sorry, I got a message. 2 seconds.
That's cool.
So yeah, so they're playing the game, and it becomes apparent very quickly that these people who actually make the game and are in charge of, the game being playable and fun, not only do they not regularly play the game, but they were dog shit bad at it too.
Oh, right, okay. So, not much of a showing then.
No. Now, here's the thing, right? You can read into this however you want. I'm not saying nothing. It's just part of the story that I'm going to make clear. The 2 employees that they put forward were, in fact, women. So there is a large section, not large, there's a section of the comments that are just being fucking degenerates because they're women, and one of them doesn't have long hair, and some people really don't like that. So that exists. That's gross. Don't do that. You don't be a fucking creep. I am focusing purely on the fact that these ladies fucking suck at the game they make. They are awful.
And like, why? I mean, how is that allowed to happen? I guess I suppose is what I would say to that. I mean, like, surely that if you are, and maybe this is a litmus test of some kind, because like, if I think if I was like responsible for the creation of something that people enjoyed, I like to think that I would be passionate enough to to play that thing myself. But having said that, apparently Miyazaki never plays any of his own games.
Really?
Yeah, he has alluded to never having played any of the games that he's made,
I imagine
and
somewhere down the line Miyazaki's going to be sitting playing Dark Souls for the first time, and he's going to be like, "What the fuck is Blighttown? Who's responsible? This is why people hate me. I understand."
so I need I just I think he's on the record as saying that it's not that he necessarily doesn't enjoy it, but he feels that he's made all the contribution that he's going to make to it.
But you're not contributing anything by playing it. You're enjoying it. You're reaping what you sow. This is like a guy who spends all his days tending a beautiful garden and doesn't eat any of the fruit.
Yeah, it doesn't get high in his own supply.
I guess not.
No.
And that's some strong ass military grade supply. This guy has got Will of Steel. It's insane. But yeah, so anyone here played Pizza Tower? No, I have not. Also, hey
No.
man, how you doing? Um,
Hey.
Shit, what were we just talking about? Yeah, so this video came out.
Mhm.
It's got a 98% dislike ratio.
98.
98. And one of the really interesting things is see if you actually listen to some of the stuff that they're saying.
Right.
They're talking about listening to fan feedback and they play the games themselves, so they know what it's like too, and they're talking about one of the things we're going to work on is making levels less backtracky. We don't want you to have to backtrack through levels too much. It's very tedious, very annoying. You did it though. That was you. You made the game. Why did you do that if it wasn't fun? You know? So it shows off a very clear disconnect between the people making the games. They don't play the games that they're making, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm trying to think of like a good comparison. Imagine a chef that didn't taste his food.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, there's. I mean, would you trust a chef that never tasted any of their own food?
Well, that's the thing, right? I understand that it's not one person making this kind of shit, unless obviously it's like the Vampire Survivors thing, or it's like a passion project from somebody. But see to just kind of put your heads away from it and go, we have a QA department, that's their job, and you yourself just continue to work on stuff as like one wee cog in part of a machine without understanding what the machine you're actually a part of does. You're probably know the right part in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you really want to be passionate. It's supposed to be a. I don't imagine anybody at Larian wasn't hype about the concept of a sick D&D game.
Yeah, and like, the other kind of aspect of this is, if if indeed you do have people at the at the studio who are passionate about the game and want to showcase it, and You know, they've taken time to like play it themselves. Surely those would be the people you'd want on camera.
Yeah, you would think it really feels as though when you watch it, it feels as though these two employees were just available at the time,
Yeah.
or this might be my tinfoil hat going on, right? But doesn't it feel a wee bit like the kind of knowing the internal politics that go on at Blizzard? I could very easily see somebody in charge saying, "We'll put the people on the camera, we'll make them women, and that way, if anybody complains, we can just call them sexist."
I mean, I could forgive anyone for thinking that based on the sort of, you know, like bait-based advertising that some developers, studios, and showrunners tend to engage in these days.
Well, I could just see them getting to a point where they're like, we know we're going to get backlash, so if we, instead of addressing the issues that people are bringing to us and making the game better, if we just find a way to shift the backlash onto them being the bad guy, that would be even better.
Well, I mean, there's that whole narrative, isn't there? That you know, if there is a controversy about your product, or you can manufacture a controversy about what you're putting out there, and you can divert people's attention and discussion onto that. You can then draw out people from the woodwork who will disagree with you loudly and vocally over the internet, and you then can sit high on your horse and say, oh well, these people are just racist or these people are just sexist, you know, and you know they're criticizing our piece of work because they are racist and sexist, and that
And
thereby it makes them unassailable in their eyes.
and one of the things is the reason that this works and it's so successful is because you will always be able to find an example of it because it's the internet. It is all of the people that are connected, and there's going to be at least a handful of shitheads amongst them that you can cherry pick to make your narrative look like that is actually a thing. It's insane. It's just such a like rage baiting.
Yeah. Uh, It is absolutely rage baiting. That is what it tends to be. I mean, like we saw it quite recently with Rings of Power and with The Little Mermaid.
It just I don't see how it helps in the long run. It gets more people talking about it, but they're talking in a negative way. You know, it would be like if I was to go out into the public square and be like, I am a serial killer, and I
Mm.
exclusively target children and young animals. 'Cause I'm just the biggest. I'm a monster, right? I'm absolutely fucking despicable. Uh, Shit, I've lost the point of this, and now I just sound like an asshole.
Uh,
Right, so
so
yeah, like if I did that to try and draw attention to the stream to get more people here watching, it would probably work. But those people that join would not be joining to go, hell yeah, brother, I love killing puppies and kitties too. Yeah, hell yeah, found my people. It'd be people coming in going, you're a piece of shit. Why would I want why would I want 1,000 people all calling me a piece of shit? Even if they're giving me money, they're still calling me a piece of shit when I could
yeah,
have like the handful of people I have right now that I like and who I hope like me, at least enough to stick around and listen. Um, I feel like we have a much better time. No, it's less interesting for the outside viewer because they're not part of the niche, but or like the clique, but they're always welcome to be a part of it by just participating.
yeah, just be here.
Yeah,
If you're here, you're part of it. You're complicit in this.
it's just that easy. Whereas I don't feel like I need to go out into the public square and start waving my dick around looking for attention.
Yeah. And Yeah, and I suppose like one of the kind of the sort of crown princesses of this, as well as Velma.
Oh
They got released.
God, I forgot all
That was
about that.
that was all that was all outrage. But you know, the thing was that the outrage wasn't just in the marketing. The outrage was in the actual show. It seemed like it was from the reactionary content that I watched of it, because I absolutely did not watch the show. Are you insane? But but for the reactionary content that I watched for Velma, it seemed like it was actively trying to goad the people who were going to be its fans, like the people who were tuning in to see a sort of a different take on the Scooby-verse.
It's definitely a shout out to Despero for taking the bullet on that one for me.
Yeah, and like for those, you know, for the you know, the people who tuned in for that, the people who, you know, wanted that, they are now. Oh dear, you get murdered.
The fuck, they've got a turret out there.
But the people who tuned in were the ones who really suffered from that. And like the thing is that they use like the you know, the way things are working just now. Apparently, there's some analytics companies out there that will read the reaction to your show purely from its reaction in social media and people talking about it. They don't you know, they don't put out the marketing as, you know, people are talking necessarily positively about it. But if it's in discourse, then, you know, then it's kind of being presented as a success. And you know, that's probably inexplicably why Velma's getting a season 2 that no one wanted.
I feel like that's been bought and paid for long before now, and they're just you know, they've got it banked so they can say it's successful.
They're just drip feeding it.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon in a way. You know, Pokemon came out and it was like, oh, 150 cute little critters for you to get. Episode 1. What's that flying through the sky? We don't fucking know. You'll have to wait to find out. How long? Until the next generation of Pokemon. Oh, you bastards, you got me.
I actually really liked that they did that. So it's like, right, okay, 150, we're going to gradually reveal to them in the Pokerap at the end of the show, right? But see this one here? Nah, you don't know where the fuck that is. That one there, that special one.
I was so mad. Because, you know, as a child, I'm like, what the fuck is it? Debates were had. Nobody... And as a kid, you know, you never thought it's a new one. You always tried to go like, oh, it must be an Articuno, but it's just like, oh, maybe it's all 3 of the legendary birds and they were all flying together as like a trio and it just looked like that. But no, it was just a straight up, they had like 400 of these fuckers banked and they were like, we're going to drip feed this shit because we know it's going to be popular.
And we absolutely got suckered in because we all saw it on the title of, you know, on the cover of Pokemon Gold and went, yo, there it is. That's the one.
Pokemon has got to be one of the most ballsy companies for shit like that. Like, they brought the movie out and called it the first movie. They're like, don't worry, we're already working on 2 and 3 now.
Yeah, there's going to be more. Trust us, there's going to be more. You're going to lap this shit up.
You're going to love it.
And the thing is that it's now almost like they've taken it to the illogical conclusion, because now what it looks like Game Freak are doing in terms of releasing, you know, Pokemon games is that they will release any old shit and people will buy it, and they know that people will buy it. Because they continually market to the next generation of like 10-year-olds.
That's it, you know, you eat shit. You don't complain about it, you're going to keep getting shit.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, and then that is the thing that, like, because but because because that is the case, and that they are continually marketing to that generation of kids, the reaction from the previous generation of kids who bought their game, or like the
2 seconds,
the
that's my door.
previous.
I'll be right back.
No worries, no worries. I'm gonna get to the end of this point eventually, guys. I'm gonna hold on to it, and we're gonna get to the end of it. I want to do that together. But I'm gonna kind of like spin off from this, from saying a little bit. I think I did mention this on stream a little while ago, but I came to a depressing realization recently, and I'd like to kind of share it again all with y'all while we're waiting for him to come back. But the depressing realization that I came to is that I'm not a Pokemon fan anymore, and being having been one since like the late '90s when Red and Blue came out, and I got it on my Game Boy, like that. Like looking back on that and looking at the state that the fucking franchise is in now, they're just shitting out anything. I mean, there was hope with Pokemon Legends Arceus, which still not finished. I still need a reason to go back to that. I'm getting more and more reasons, with each passing month to play other stuff other than it, but that's beside the point. But with Pokemon, it is depressing to see them just shit out the bare minimum serviceable, viable product. And it's partially because obviously they have more money than God. It is the most valuable, the most profitable IP
What about
out there, and it is depressing to see it being mismanaged so much. And
Pokemon?
yeah, I've spun off. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back to the point that I was making, but I wanted to arrive there together. I was just saying there that I was reiterating the fact that I've come to the depressing realization that I'm not actually a Pokemon fan anymore.
Do you know, I felt, just when you came back there, it popped into my head. This is like your FF13. Like, if I want to fill some content, I'll just be like, Scott, tell me about Pokemon, and then just put the headset down.
Yeah. It's pulling the pin in the grenade, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, like I think that Game Freak are getting away with the whole minimum viable product thing. Was what I was moving towards. They are the kind of Game Freak are kind of like the anti-Larian at the moment, because they know that whatever they put out, because they're marketing it to the current generation of kids, they know that they don't really have to pay attention to the previous generation who bought the game and who bought their previous games. They don't need to pay attention to them, because it's not who their new product is for. And all the criticism that's levelled at them because of the previous entries, it's not going to be acted upon, because, and it's been shown that it's not going to be acted upon, because we saw the state that Sword and Shield came out in, and now we've seen the state that Scarlet and Violet has come out in. And they're not paying attention to the wider community. I'm away, man. I'm motoring here. Let me cook.
Oh god, he's cooking.
But like, look at the wider Pokemon community. You've got the trading card game players, who are their own little subset. You've got, sticking with just the games, you have the people who are the challenge run guys, who do like Nuzlocke and co-op play and shit like that, and the devs, they don't give a shit about any of that. They're not engaging with anything like that, because all they want is to shit out a minimum viable product that will appeal to kids.
Have you ever heard of Coromon?
I have, and I think I actually have it on my phone.
Yeah, in Coromon there is options when you start the game for Nuzlocke, challenge runs, randomizers, that kind of thing, just as part of the game. Pokemon Nuzlocke randomized runs are such a thing that for Nintendo to ignore that, and for Pokemon Company to ignore that and not make it a part, like a feature of the game, and cater to the people that are finding ways to play the game and give it new life every day, is just so disrespectful to the people that are actually like, you are nothing without the people that are playing the game.
Yeah, exactly, and like you don't need to go too far back to see an example of where that has come to bite the studio in the arse. All we really need to go to is Skyrim and the modding community, and when Bethesda tried to fucking monetize it,
God, yeah.
and like and and you know Skyrim, of course, still played and modded to this day because it is such an active, passionate modern community, and that that is a community within that game and within that within that game's players, and Pokemon Company have that as well. They have the people they have the Nuzlockers, and they are doing nothing to appeal to them whatsoever.
It's. I feel like Arceus was the only step in the right direction we've seen in a long time from this team.
Well, it was a change up of the formula. It was something that it badly needed because we were still on the exact same, with the addition of a gimmick, because they always do a gimmick. With Scarlet and Violet, it's the terastallizing where Pokemon can change types. In Sword and Shield, it was fucking Gigantamax.
Here's the thing, though, right? Like, Pokemon is in the same vein as Marvel in the movies, in the sense that they could have a fucking incredible entry in literally every genre. All
Yeah,
of the ingredients are there. They just won't.
yeah. And the thing as well is, like, when you realize that like the amount of money that they make from the games alone like dwarfs the Marvel box office.
I think
Like
is it not true that games as a medium are now like they absolutely eclipse the revenue from movies and TV shows and shit like that?
well, almost certainly, because you've got the drop off from cinema and things now.
Yeah.
Because people, they do not go to the theaters like they used to.
And
And
they wish they
there's
could charge
reasons for that, of
$70.
course.
Yeah, they wish they
Yeah,
could charge
they
$70 for a movie rental.
They absolutely wish they did. I mean, like we did actually see something like that with Disney Plus right near the beginning of when it came out. One of the first movies they tried to do this with was Mulan. And they basically put it on as a premiere. So basically, they made it available. I think it might have been round about the same time as it came out in cinemas, and they made it available. But you could rent the movie for $29.99.
Oh, a bargain.
Yeah, $29.99 got you like infinite access to the movie right from when it was first available. And like, I mean, fair enough. You could look at that and say, right, if I go to the cinema and I'm taking someone with me and we're buying food in the cinema, then that doesn't seem like too bad of a deal. Because, like, you're going to spend less buying that than you would the cinema. But, like, this part of what you pay for in the cinema is the experience. And you're
Especially
not getting that
nowadays.
at home.
Especially now when they've done the correct thing with cinemas and they've upgraded what the
These
cinema
guys are
itself is
murdering you,
like.
man.
Don't point out my shortcomings. How dare you? Wait a am I supposed to be going into this? Oh yeah, okay, I'm supposed to be going into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is, you go to the cinema now, tickets aren't that expensive anymore. they went really high up and then they've came right back down. The seats are amazing. They've got a bar in there now. It's actually like worth going to the cinema these days, which is insane.
Yeah.
Especially when with the state like that. That's the thing. You don't have movies that you want to go and see in the cinema anymore. There isn't that
Hmm.
huge. I don't know if it's just because my thing in entertainment changed, but do you remember like being hyped for movies coming out the same way you're hyped for a game coming out?
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember that, and it does seem like it's pretty distant now. I mean, like honestly, the only movie that I am hyped for seeing in the cinema at the moment is Dune Part Two,
Yeah,
because that in the cinema is going to be phenomenal, just like the first film was in the cinema.
but here's the thing though, right? Try and make your hype into like a quantifiable number.
Hmm.
And where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 for Dune Part 2 versus a game that you're not even necessarily that excited for? Like, I don't know, like, fuck, I don't, is there a game that you're like, that looks alright?
But
Lords of the
I'm,
Fallen?
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Lords of the Fallen looks cool. Remnant 2 looks cool. That's another one that's kind of on my radar just now.
Oh yeah, there's been some discussion about that we've been having in one of the old chatteroos.
I noticed earlier, yeah. But yeah, apparently it's been fairly well received.
Certainly, in our camp, we've got a strong advocate for it.
Yeah. And like it's another one of these games that it's not particularly it's not particularly an A-list studio that's making this. You know, uh, Remnant from the Ashes, which was the first game, was pretty well received, and they've with the second one they just seem to be hitting all the right marks in terms of what they've done to the sequel and how they're representing that to the people who they want to buy it.
It's such a polarizing. I really think this will be looked back on historically as one of the most polarizing years in all of video games.
Yeah, it is. It's going to have. It's going to have some major wins for sure. I am really hyped. Speaking about really hyped for games, I I pre
The fuck has he got a gun?
he's got a firecracker launcher thing.
The fuck is this?
This is my boomstick.
Yeah. All right. The last thing I expected in my feudal Japanese samurai game was some motherfucker with a shotgun. But there it is.
Well,
Feudal Japanese shotguns.
well, I mean, fireworks are a fairly old invention.
They didn't. They didn't make fucking shotguns out of them though, right? I know they made like dumb thrones and launched themselves into the fucking afterlife with them, but like, the fuck is
No,
this?
I mean
No,
they
there's
had
no shot.
they had like entertainment fireworks, and they definitely use gunpowder in like warfare. Like roundabout like this this point in history. You were starting to get this was just before like firearms started to appear. Because when firearms started to appear, that's when like the samurai started to decline.
Yeah. Yeah, sword technology couldn't really keep up with guns.
Yeah. Yep.
It's kind of like, I can't wait to see what outdoes gun. I know the answer right now would probably be bomb, but I'm talking like, what happens when we get into a firefight and somebody brings out like a straight up just laser? Like, what then? What happens when laser combat becomes a thing?
Yeah, I guess. Energy-based weapons.
Yeah. What then?
But yeah, apparently fireworks were invented sometime during the period of 600 to 900 AD.
That is amazing, actually, that humans could come up with something so like cool and interesting with such limited technology. I just had another one of those weird tangent thoughts. You know, the other day I was talking to you about like what happens if we accidentally cure environmental issues because we're just like lazy and we invent technology that makes paper obsolete, therefore we don't have to deforest as much. You know, that kind of thing. I just had another thought like that. What were we just talking about?
So, well, I mean, we were talking about like before the fireworks, we were talking about how we're getting hype for games and we're not getting hype for things in the cinema quite so much.
Oh yeah, it was. What if we, by furthering weapons technology and coming up with light-based, you know, like energy
Yeah.
weapons or whatever,
Right.
we invent something to power those weapons that is also then a usable just energy source in general, and it basically just completely revolutionizes like energy. Like it's clean, it's sustainable, and we've just basically solved energy in the world, but for all the wrong reasons. Like that's just a happy byproduct of us trying to be even more efficient, murdery bastards.
I mean, you know, like some of the things, you know, some of the ways in which things get invented, like, you know, they say that necessity is the mother of invention. So when you need to solve a problem, that's when something gets invented. And, you know, sometimes it is completely, it's completely by accident that you do it. Like, for example, I think it was the MRI scanner was invented for the space program.
Okay.
And it's only through, you know, further adaptation of that we now have the MRI scanner as used for the human body.
I know the whole thing about the guy that came up with glue did it twice because he didn't need it the first time. Like that wasn't what he was trying to invent, and he didn't see the
Yeah.
utility for something like that, so he just kind of shelved it. And then later on, they were like, "We need something like this," and he went, "Oh fuck, I actually made that already."
Yeah. One of my favourite ones is the microwave. Do you know how the person who invented the microwave came up with it?
No.
Apparently, they were on like a submarine or they were on a submarine. I think this was how microwaves were discovered. They were on a submarine or a boat, some kind of reactor powered vessel, and they walked past the radar tube, and a chocolate bar in their pocket melted.
Oh, cool. You would just be like, "What the fuck?" Yo.
Yeah. But no, Ronan, I did get to my Pokemon point. My Pokemon point was that the Pokemon Company are ignoring their historical fan base. They only care about the current fan base, and that is to their detriment. They are kind of like they're kind of like the they're kind of like the anti-Larian studio, where they only want to put out a minimum viable product. And not, they're not interested in making the best Pokemon game they possibly could, because they absolutely could. But they're not interested in doing it. They want to make money.
That's the weird thought that I had earlier on.
Yeah.
What if, imagine a world where, wait, did I get to choose? Okay. Oh, was I just using it? Oh my god.
So now we have gained the power of fear.
Earns the ghost dance? The fuck? Oh, yeah. The hell's going on here? This is amazing. Are all these guys just going to be one-shots?
So, what? So what this does is Ghost Stance allows you to insta kill a number of enemies. I think it's 3 by default, and the remaining enemies who witness this, are terrified. So they are basically they basically lose the will to fight completely and like run away or like scrabble away on the floor. And if you kill enemies without taking damage, you'll unlock more Ghost Stance. Now you can do it again.
Sick.
And they are literally they're
Did
literally
that guy just jump in the
fleeing from
river? Did that dude just
Yep.
jump off the bridge into the river?
Yep.
That was amazing. That's very cool. I like that.
Yeah. So now we are approaching feudal Japanese Batman. We are now using fear to our advantage.
Shit. Yeah, so imagine a world, right, a scenario where Larian Studios' development of Baldur's Gate and the reception triggers a complete shift in the mindset of how games are supposed to be made, right? It just completely alters the landscape, and the Pokemon company pick up on it and they go, oh my god, we've been so wrong. We have to do things the way Larian do it. But they take the wrong message, and the next Pokemon game has like, alright, now you can fuck the Pokemon, Bulbasaur's got 6 dicks. It's like, oh my god, no, what have you done? You've got, like Tangela's just a hentai monster. It's like, Pokemon, no, why? They're like, but this is, you guys like Baldur's Gate? It had a dick slider. What the fuck? I don't get it.
And they latch on to completely the wrong point.
Yeah. They just laser focus on the wrong reason that this game's popular.
Yeah. I mean, but that is like, you know, what I was saying earlier on, like about Baldur's Gate 3, you know, and the response to it giving me hope. That is kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for that, you know, at some point,
Pokemon.
No, at some point within the next 10 years, we're going to have a gaming renaissance, where essentially how games are made and what games that people play and what games that people enjoy en masse are the games that are the best made, not like the best marketed and the most monetized.
If I had the Baldur's Gate Pokemon game, I would make a character that looked exactly like a Machoke, and I would call him Machode, and I would give him a tiny penis.
But like, I think that there is something to be said for like with Pokemon, right? You surely, you know, what was the last Pokemon game you played?
Hang on a second, what's going on here then? You trying to make the Straw Hats bad lads?
Well, they kind of are bad lads. They betrayed you. But he's trying to make them worse lads, I think.
Fucking straw rats. That's not cool, guys. Is one of these Straw Hats going to come out like fucking Kung Lao? Kung Lao's the one that has the fucking hat in Mortal Kombat, right? Kino's in chat still. Kino, Kung Lao? I'm probably way off on that.
So yeah, so for that Ghost Stance, you need to you can sneak up behind a leader and behead them, or you can just kill enemies without taking damage. It'll fill up like Devil Trigger.
I'm going to do Devil Trigger.
Yeah, Kung Lao is correct, apparently.
Sick. Yeah, see, I know my lore. I know my MKs.
But I mean, like, Ryozo is kind of that. You know, he is essentially your rival character at this point.
It's pronounced Ryu, and he's from Street Fighter. God.
But yeah, he's kind of like in the battle of wills, he's kind of met the same point as you, and almost decided if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
So he and the Straw Hats have thrown in their lot with Cotton Khan because they want to prevent further slaughter of the Tsushima people.
Again, bringing it back to
Um,
MK, every time you say that, I hear Kotal Khan.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like a big Aztec dude in Mortal Kombat. He's really cool, but he is like kind of like True Ogre from Tekken,
Mm,
or Ogre, not True Ogre. True Ogre was the one with the
yeah.
fucking snake for a hand.
Snake for hands.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was the last Pokemon game that you played?
It was the newest one for a couple of hours. I tried it because
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you were telling me about it.
but before that, it was probably Unite.
Okay. And again, that's some horrible, bloodthirsty mobile game garbage.
Oh yeah, it's not for me. Florin has actually joined a static for it, so that they can do like
All right.
high-end raids because he plays support, and apparently they are super ultra rare. I need to go to the toilet again. God damn it! Sorry about all these pauses so
They're
frequently. I'll be right
they're
back.
like they're like hunting horn users.
Oh no, hang on.
Eh,
You've summoned me back.
uh,
I started playing Hunting Horn.
oh right, I'm looking forward to hear about
It's so easy in this one. Right, I'll be right back.
that. So we're getting into some stuff tonight. We've got the fire lit under us for some reason. I think, and it's probably Baldur's Gate. Just doing its thing again. We're looking outward to other games which by rights could be as lovingly crafted as Baldur's Gate 3 is. There's every opportunity there, and yet it's not happening. And it does make you wonder, like with games like BG3 and Elden Ring coming out and doing so well, if we do get more games like this, maybe there is going to be a turning point. Maybe there is going to be a point where you're these larger studios that have they've cut their teeth on microtransactions and bleeding the player base for all they're worth. Maybe that's going to be shown to be not the way anymore. And what? I know that's hopium of the highest order. I really do. I have no illusions about that. But I do like to think it might be a possibility someday. I wouldn't mind at all if there were less games and they were just better made.
So, Hunting Horn.
Yes, hunting on.
Let me explain to you what playing the Hunting Horn feels like. Okay. So I play the hammer. You would think that the
Mm-hmm.
Hunting Horn would be the natural evolution of the hammer, and that the moveset would be quite similar, and that
You
everything
think so?
would be very good. But it is not. The moveset is wildly different. R2 is the only button I really care about when I'm playing the hammer, R2 and triangle. This one uses triangle, and circle, and R2 and triangle, as well as all your switch skills. So, but the thing is that the actual moveset itself is really weird. One of your big hits, first hit, is backwards. So you have to run up, turn around, and then like almost seppuku stance into the
I like
monster.
over. I yeah, like overhead backwards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have to run in at the right angle and like position yourself. And all I feel like I've been doing is like when you're a fucking idiot child and you got your first guitar and
Hmm.
you learn like how to play the American Idiot riff, which is
Hmm.
so it's so easy, but when you're first starting out, it's like, oh my god, I can go da 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 da. So I feel like I'm that
Yeah.
child when I'm playing the hunting horn, and I'm just running up to the monster instead of my mum, and I'm just kind of going like, oh my god, look what I can play, and then I'll play one like 8 bar, 8 notes, like 2 bars 4 bars maybe of this shitty fucking easy power chord riff, and then the monster will scream its praise at me. It'll go, "Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I'm so proud of you." And then I'll put my weapon away. I'll put my instrument away and be like, "I can't do any more than that. I'm sorry. I don't know the full song. No damage was done. One buff was given, and yeah, I just feel like a dumb child. It's great.
I mean, there are there are definitely like there's kind of two main types of excuse me. Oh, that was a much needed sneeze. There are kind of two types of hunting horn player that I've come across. There's the war horner, I suppose you could call them, which are the ones that are up up in the business all the time and firing off buffs right, left, and centre. And you've got the corner horner, who will be nowhere near the monster, but continually playing music so that everyone else is buffed.
So the thing is, with the world, it was very different. You had to like line up the songs on the stave and then play them, and you had to get the correct notes in the correct sequence. And this one, it is basically just like you have 3 songs that you can play per horn, and it is just a combination of triangle, circle, R2 triangle, and that will play all of your songs at once, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you're just doing all of the stuff comes from you just hitting the monster, because the hunting horn now has 2 modes. One of them's performance mode and one of them's echo mode. Echo mode plays kind of more like traditional world hunting horn, where you have full autonomy over what songs you play and when. But performance mode is just like you just hit the buttons and you will automatically play songs.
Right.
And at that point, you're really just about learning the moveset so that you can actually land hits.
Yeah. It's good that you could do it either way, though.
Yeah, I mean, the game has definitely added in a lot. It's kind of like the FF7 ATB versus like full-on turn-based versus full-on action game settings that they had toggled in.
Mm-hmm.
You have your freedom to play the way you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess a better comparison would be modern fighting game controls versus classic fighting game controls.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure has triggered the Street Fighter players that have worked for 20 years to get really good with a character, and then some jobbers came in, mashed square, and won because they've got modern controls on.
Yeah.
Classic. That's how I won all my fights in Dragon Ball FighterZ, just mashing auto combos with Gohan.
Mm-hmm. So for the kind of the last segment of the stream, I do have a little treat for us.
Oh God.
So earlier on in the stream, we were talking about how you would have if you were changing the style of the stream to become more like sort of down with the kids, you'd have to learn all the latest slurs.
Oh God, yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cherry pick some Gen Z slang, and you're going to give me your best attempt at what you think it means.
Oh shit. Okay.
Right. So some of these will be fairly apparent because we are not super old. We have lived with quite a lot of the internet. So some of this will be, some of these will be kind of ones that we'll know, and I'll try and ignore those ones.
Speak for yourself, young man.
Okay, so if someone says something is right, so okay, so if someone something, and if someone says it says finna, what does finna mean? Finna.
Finna.
And what I'll say is that for each of these, some of these like do have like example sentences, so I can try and use it in a sentence if you want.
I'll try and go blind.
Okay. So,
All right.
like, if there's any ones that do, like you draw a blank, I'll try and use it in a sentence. Okay.
All right. So finna.
Finna.
Finna is what lower class uneducated people think is the correct way to say something is thinner or slimmer. They go, it's finna, innit? Finna. It originated in England. So what they are saying is that it is very small. It's not as big as it used to be. It could even be used as a term to say that somebody has dropped off in popularity.
So it's not big thick. It's a wee bit thinner.
Yeah, it's
Right.
thinner.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to tell you that that's incorrect.
Oh,
Apparently, what it means is that you're going to do something. So, like, finna pick
that's got a
new armor.
voice.
Finna pick up that new Armored Core game. Looks sick.
That sounds like something somebody from up north of Scotland would say.
Yeah.
Ah, finna pick up Armored Core, Ken. Does that not
Right.
that doesn't sound like Gen Z patter? That sounds like Island patter.
It sounds like Chuchter Patter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly
There
what
we
it sounds
go.
like.
There's a word for our non-Scottish viewers.
Have you got? Are you sure you get the right list? You're not looking up like Scottish slang from weird parts of the fucking
No.
island.
No, this is apparently 50 Gen Z slang words.
Right. Okay. That sounds like Island patter to me, but okay.
Okay. So what if something is chuggy?
Chuggy.
Chuggy. Again, this sounds very Scottish, but it's not.
It does, because chewing in Scottish is a chewing gum,
Yes, it is.
so it immediately makes me think that it is sticky.
And I will tell you how it's spelled. It's CHEUGY. Chuggy.
I'm gonna stick with it is sticky.
Sticky. Okay. Well, apparently the answer is it is not at all trendy.
Oh, that Ronan's right. That is what this has turned into. Is it Chukter or is it Gen Z? Oh, it's a good round. It's a good round.
Chuchter Patter or Gen Z Patter. You decide.
That's pretty good. Again, Chugi, I would have thought that was Chukter Patter. Oh,
Yeah,
Ken, I finna get a Chugi for the shop, Ken.
But apparently chuggy it's kind of easiest to describe as synonymous with basic. If you're talking about someone being a basic bish.
Right, you would say you're a Chugi pie.
I guess. Don't know. Or if something's like not trendy or not cool, oh, that's so chuggy. I guess.
Our slang made more sense, right? Is that just me? Because I grew up with it. Like, where did that come from? What's the etymology? Is that the right word here?
Hi. Well, the etymology, yeah.
Etymology. That was it. What's the etymology of this word? We're gonna have to go on Urban Dictionary for this, I think.
I think it's I always kind of take pause before saying that because etymology is the study of where words come from. Entomology, I believe, is the study of ants. So it's very, very close.
You would think it would be the study of sapient tree men, but
You think?
there you go.
You think, but you'd be wrong. Okay, so this one's news to me. So if something is described as camp, Now, I know what I think this means.
Right.
So if something is described as camp, I would think that it's, kind of effeminate, flamboyant kind of thing, right?
Right, that's you just set off the buzzers in QI.
Right, yeah, I've set off that, yeah, absolutely. This is general ignorance on display.
Yeah, you've just set off the buzzers in QI. No, sir. I don't think that's the correct answer, sir. I think that's a trick question. I am going to go with the more gamer term definition of camp, and I'm going to go with it means something as stationary or immovable.
Oh, interesting take. But apparently, it is now used to describe something that's ironically trendy. So, the example that they use here is Crocs, the shoes,
Right.
that they would probably be considered chuggy, but in fact they're pretty camp.
Is this right?
Am I losing you yet?
Is this
Because I'm starting to slip off.
is that this generation's version of like, when we were in school, gay didn't mean gay, it meant silly?
It was like it was used. It was kind of used like as well. It was almost like a. It's pretty bad now looking back on it, but it was like kind of used to just describe a negative thing.
It was something that was strange or other, which,
Yeah.
looking back on it with the modern lens and the grown-up perspective, yeah, that was fucked up. But when you're a kid, like, you don't really understand the fucking, especially not in the 90s when people weren't really discussing it. You don't understand what fucking gay, straight, bi, what all that is. As far as you're
Yeah.
aware, things just work by magic. So, for kids to go around and be like, oh, that's gay, that's pure gay. They had literally no idea about sexuality when that was coming in. It just somehow slipped down into like the lingo, and I'm feeling like this might be this generation's version of that. But obviously, it's a lot softer because
Yeah.
people are more aware of not being dickheads.
Okay. So next so next one here is right. Okay. If you are if you are sipping tea, what are you doing? And I give you a clue. It doesn't involve a mug.
Right, okay, I think I might know this one because when you are dishing out the tea, when you're giving the tea, that's you telling the truth. So
Yeah,
if you're
serving tea or spilling tea.
yeah. So if you're sipping the tea, I would take that to mean that you are receiving gossip and enjoying the schadenfreude of it.
That is that is the first ding 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 correct.
Oh
You are
yes,
sitting
I'm not out of touch, boys.
you're sitting back and then listening to the gossip rather than partaking in it.
That's it. I'm going down to the ice cream social with my skateboard later. Hello, fellow youths.
Okay. Next one. I think this one's slightly easier. What is if something has drip? What does that mean?
Oh, that means it's got style or swagger. It has got some some expensive jewelry also.
That is also correct. So yeah, it refers to, another way of saying swag, as we may have done in years gone past.
I would also accept it to mean that you have, when you go to the toilet and then you just think you're finished, and then like another little bit wants to come out.
You're not quite there.
Yeah. You're not quite at the stage needing a Tenorman line in
Aye.
your boxers, but you've not quite got it all out in the one go. I would also have
Yeah.
accepted that as drip. Like, oh no, I've
Yeah.
got drip. Oh, I need to go back
Aye.
to the toilet after I've just came out. I've got drip, boys. I'll be right back.
Oh no, guys, it's the DLCP.
The DLP.
Yes.
That's a good one.
So, if you're so next one is if you're describing something as a bop, what does that mean?
Oh no,
And
hang on now. Now I'm thinking
And
of
a
it when you go
bonus.
on a night out and you've drank too much and you broke the seal and you're like, oh no, I'm grinding the battle pass now, boys.
Oh no, go and get my dailies. Right, okay. So if you describe something as a bop, what does that mean? And bonus points for if you can get a bonus point for describing what is usually referred to as a bop.
Right, okay. When I say something's a bop, I'm usually meaning it is a pure banger of a tune, specifically for music.
Correct. A song or album is exceptionally good. It's referred to as a bop.
Am I Gen Z?
Okay. So um, next is the word bet.
Oh, alright. I've heard this being said, but I've never had the context explained, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of backwards engineering on
Okay.
the topic. Right, okay. I immediate thought, just knowing what a bet is or putting a punt on, I would say it would be an affirmation or saying, yes, I think you are correct. That is a safe bet.
I'd say that's close enough to get it. So basically, it is like the Gen Z equivalent of like millennials saying word.
Ah,
You
okay,
know,
so
like truth. You know, like kind of yeah. I confirm this.
I hear you and I agree with the sentiment you are putting forward.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah. Um, Let me see what's next. F. Let me see. Okay, if right, this was a little trickier. Um, if um, if you're bussing, what are you? What are you doing?
Oh, Jesus, right, okay. That used to actually be my job. Was bussing in a restaurant, and that used to mean I was cleaning up and like resetting the tables. Does that mean you're doing chores and shit?
So so like if or if something right, okay, I'm going to use it in a sentence. Um, this game is straight bussing.
Okay. It is a positive affirmation, again, derived from people being generally excited by not having to wait for public transport. There you go.
I mean, the answer is correct. I'm not sure on the way it took you to get there. I'm not sure on the route of this particular bus,
Well, it's not
but
about the journey, it's the destination.
but it's basically like if something is like really good or awesome.
Right, okay.
Yeah, bet straight bus and no cap.
Oh, no. God.
So I suppose that leads us on. What did that last part mean?
Fuck. I didn't realize there was going to be a test. Oh, I've not been taking notes. Man, when did this turn into fucking Duolingo?
I know it is like there are like and it's in things like this that that kind of do make me feel old in the face of it. Do you know what I mean? Because like if someone said that to me and I wasn't equipped to know what it meant, I would be like, the fuck you just say to me?
It's exactly the fucking sentence I would have thrown out as well. The fuck did you just say? Mate, I'll wait and take
I'm
your
not-
face for a shite.
But yeah, so So apparently, so cap, or saying no cap, it's like no word of a lie.
Okay.
You know, like honestly, no bullshit, that kind of thing.
I feel like Is that Kurimitsu?
And well, it's Tomoe, but she is wearing a kitsune mask.
It's Kurimitsu. Can I get that mask?
お前に教えてやろうと思って油断すると刺されるよ私のようにね
Did he try and kill you because you were being a dickhead though?
すでについてる味方もいない一人だ弓を下ろせ巴
No! Tomodane!
どこに消えた
Tomo-sama!
伝えねば
See if I had it in Japanese. So wait, I did have it in Japanese. I didn't hear her say, "Oh my god,
You did.
Shit.
Yeah. The one of the rare occasions you did actually have it in Japanese.
Piss. I think I might have crossed over to the point where haiku.
Oh, on stream haiku, love it.
Nice, thanks, Burbie. Alright, let's
Okay,
make a beautiful one.
What are we meditating on?
Survival. Alright, okay.
Sora's just having a nice time in the middle there.
Thriving in the dark. Twisted and flailing. Where's the third one? There's always a third one. Where the fuck is it?
Down a bit.
Ah. Giving life to all.
So, survival, what is that channel?
Thriving in the dark. A wandering mind searches? No. The outstretched hands left to fend. Oh, I like that one. Outstretched hands left to fend.
Mm-hmm. And we're going up the tree, as we often do.
Answers never found, visions always clear, or riches left behind. Oh, survival, riches left behind. That's the one. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, the haiku is a good feel.
This game is beautiful.
And that is one of my favourite bits about doing the haikus in this is you get to keep them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you wear them
you get
as
keep
accessories.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead dudes here.
This forest doesn't look very welcome. Is this the forest where they found guts? Ooh, stand off.
But yeah, that is that is like that's kind of the most obscure ones I think from this list. A lot of the ones that are on here, like that I'd heard before, like talking about dragging someone or saying about catching these hands or something hits different. I mean, I've heard a lot of these before, but like those were the ones I put out were a bit more of the obscure ones.
Yeah, I definitely think the first two aren't Gen Z. They're from like the north of Scotland. There's no way there isn't people up in like fucking pretty much everywhere north of Edinburgh. Just going, I'm finna Ken go to the shop for a chuggy Ken cap bet.
Oh man. But yeah, like there have been times. I think it was when I first heard cap, when I first heard no cap. That was a moment where I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I actually had to look it up.
Man, the only time any of this I hope is ever going to be useful to me is if I become a fucking investigative reporter and I need to infiltrate Logan Paul.
See, the thing is, like, this is the sort of thing that all gets left behind. Like, this is this generation's, like, all your base or belong to us. Or like Leroy Jenkins or whatever, like this is the sort of thing that it's referenced, and like like it'll fall in and out of fashion, just like saying other things has in the past, and eventually they'll be sitting where we are right now, listening to the next generation of words and going, what the fuck does that mean?
Here's an interesting thought.
If we're not communicating in binary by then.
Yeah. No, here's an interesting thought though, right? See, with the internet and the connectivity of everything and the way that media is shared and consumed now, there must be a much more unified, globalized generational slang than what we would have had. Because I would say that 99% of like our generational slang was very specific to the area that we were from.
Yeah.
For example, I don't think you could go anywhere outside of Scotland and just start going milk, lemonade, chocolate, and get a good reception. People would just think you were nuts. Whereas, somebody that's seen chewing the fat, you start saying milk, lemonade, chocolate to them, they're just like, aha, yeah, I remember that.
or putting the backs of your hands to your face so your fingers point downwards, wiggling in them and going, ooh.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Or,
yes.
Like, do kids still each other?
I don't know, maybe. I'll try and find out.
What's the new generation's equivalent of being a smug prick?
So, yeah, I mean, like, I think, I think these things definitely do come in cycles, though. There's so many. I mean, there's so many things that already, like from our, from our generation, from our like slang and memes and lingo and things like that. It's all like there is a whole bunch of that's like disappeared and been replaced already.
There are words that every now and then will pop back into my head, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I used to say that. I'm going to start saying that unironically and see if I can bring it back." And some of them I feel like have kind of caught on, like stuff like gnarly.
Yeah.
Like I'll still say that's some gnarly shit, and people will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I like gnarly. I've also kind of done that with rad.
Oh yeah, no, that's one that I'll never let go.
I say rad a lot.
Yeah.
more than I ought to, really.
Nah, I'll never let that one go. But what are some? Can you think of any that you've abandoned? Maybe not, because you've abandoned them.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean, I suppose that level of quality cringe can be found probably by looking over my social media memories.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like there have been points like fairly recently, I would say, that I've looked back on my previous self on Facebook, with something that I've said like 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh mate.
Aye, I definitely get a bit of that myself. But do you know that way it's like everybody's a cringe lord when they're 20?
Yeah,
Because you
I
don't
think
know.
it's true.
You don't know now.
You think you do,
Oh
but you
yeah,
don't know shit.
for sure. It's weird seeing it happening with like my brother. You know, he's very much in the I know everything already stage when he knows very little.
Yeah,
It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect of life.
yeah. The thing is though, I mean, like I think like with every generation, and I suppose like the the current generation are going to get this too, but like you know, we all got to make our mistakes growing up.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
if you don't make your mistakes, how are you going to learn shit?
Yeah, and some mistakes are a lot more recoverable than others. There's some mistakes that I definitely wish I had taken my lesson before I'd made it myself. But
Yeah,
ultimately, at the end of the day, all of these experiences are what makes you who you are. And if you turned out like, let's use yourself as an example, then one could argue that all of these negative experiences ultimately creates a greater positive.
yeah. Does the end justify the means?
Yeah, some Thanos shit, but with you as a person.
Yeah,
So I'm getting
yeah.
ganked by
That's
Straw Hat gank squads now.
I was gonna say it's some deep shit for getting ambushed too. Ah, there it is, the mighty lampshade.
It's beautiful. I will acquire one and wear it in your own. Oh god damn it, it just took me down. See, it's too powerful. You wear that shit in your god. Alright, well that seems like a good enough place to leave off. Next week we will take on all of the tales from our friends. What have we got here? Yeah, so we'll take on all the named character tales. I'll clear off all of these kind of jobbery ones.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a bunch of ones like down in the lower portion of the map as well, like new strongholds that have popped up,
yeah.
ones that have been retaken, so they'll be easily taken back. Um, the we should have a couple more like legendary techniques. There's a one blue one there. I think that's for Gusaku's armor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Gusaku's armor's great. And there should be one coming up. I don't know, maybe you've already got it. There's one for the triple slash, which is it's kind of like Cloud's triple slash in FF Remake. You zip between three targets really quickly.
What? New explorable region? What the
Oh,
fuck is this?
I believe that may be DLC.
Oh, cool. Alright, well maybe we can jump in and check that out. I'm not seeing anything that
And
gives me
that'll
the.
be that'll be new to me. I've not seen that. I've not played the DLC.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Well, yeah, we can explore that together.
Sick.
Cool. Right. Okay. Next week we will clear up all of the tales that are available to us for this act before moving on to Jin's journey. And if we get to a nice point and we've got a wee bit of time, maybe check out what this DLC is all about. Who knows? Why not?
Sounds cool.
And I'll try. I think I'll try and stick mostly to this kind of region of the map down here,
Hmm.
and just try and clear that out. I should actually have enough to get a couple of the exploration wins.
Yeah, the Wind of Vanity is a good one to get. That gets you your different sword kits, and it's sword kits and cosmetics. So you will find hats, you will find uh, vanity kits for the swords and the bows and things like that.
Cool. I feel like I've found enough in RA shrines. I don't need them, so I'll take the Wind of Health and try and find more health so that we survive longer. So yes, next time we will be going further into Act 3 and hopefully have a bit more of a regular schedule back because it's been a weird little time.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back on track. Straight bus and no cap.
Oh my god. I feel like I'm talking to a fucking Albed. Alright.
Finna join us. It's going to be sick.
Bruh, it sounds like a language, but it's not. It can't be.
It's not real.
It can't be.
It is the faithless Albed come to torment us again.
It really is. Right, okay. Yeah, we'll also be back playing Final Fantasy and getting through the end of Disc 1. I actually tried sticking it on to see if I could do a bit of grinding, and where we are, I cannot advance to anywhere where there's like
okay.
random encounters, so...
Yep, and this should be the end of Disc 1, so please make sure that you are adequately well cared for. You have your Kleenex to hand if you require them.
I'm not going to make the joke I wanted to there. Right, everybody have a good night. If anybody's wanting to play some games or whatever, shoot me a message. I'll be free. I'm going to feed myself. But take care.
Oh, I need to
Peace
feed
and love.
myself. Oh. Take care, guys. Bye.
Oh god, I pressed the wrong button.